Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the third class of or to the second class rather of agriculture. Rahul is saying pranam, and we are going to read PM pranam today. So I hope you're all doing good. If you can see and hear me, you can write yes in the chat, and we'll get started. Yes, good afternoon, welcome to all of you. All right. So today we are going to study three things. We have read about the general thinking pattern for agriculture. So we know that when we are reading agriculture, we have to think about it in a certain way. So we started with inputs, then production, then finally post production things. So in input first, we read about the thinking pattern and we read about land as a input. So when we were reading land as an input, we also read about the idea of land reforms. Okay, this much we have done. Now we will continue with other inputs. So first we will read about water, then we will read about fertilizers, then we will read about technology. In reading technology, we will also read a specific syllabus subpoint called e-technology in the aid of farmers, which is a part of the syllabus. If you are giving means this year, this is very unlikely this year because it came last year. But for 2025, it's very likely. Okay, so just letting you know. This is very likely means this year because the economic survey of this year that came out 2 days back has a complete box and 2 or 3 pages talking about the issue of fertilizer subsidy management. And I will teach you this today in detail. Even water is likely. Water is also something that is asked to you in GS1 in geography. And a lot of times, issues of water crisis, water management, water the issue of water through urban flooding and the issue of lack of water, for example the availability of water, these things have come in GS1. So what we will do when we are reading water is we will read it holistically. We will read about water from both perspectives. Okay, all right, so let us first start with understanding the issue of water management. Okay, now I don't want कि आप लोग बस बैठो, you enjoy the show, you know rest, you probably get some popcorn. तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप लोग भी actively participate करो. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first ask you a question on this and give you 3 minutes to think. Then I will explain how I would have thought, and then we'll look at the points in detail. If you are giving means this year, firstly, you should be watching this recorded, and secondly, you should skip these timers because for you this is probably something which you have a time constraint. तो आप ये timer skip कर देना. But otherwise, you should take the time. Even if you are watching this recorded for 2025, then you should not skip these timers, and you should watch it at 1x. आराम से सोचो बैठ के. जो पॉइंट्स आप सोच लोगे वो आपको कभी नहीं भूलेंगे. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले थिंक अबाउट द चैलेंजेस of water use with regards to agriculture. So in terms of agriculture, what are the challenges of water use? You have 3 minutes to think about this. Take 3 minutes and think about this कि क्या issues हैं water use के in agriculture. And try to think in a particular format, not randomly. Monsoon is not issue of water management. Monsoon dependence is an issue of water management. Okay, good, Abhishek. Why only arsenic poisoning? There can be many other pollutants, right? सिर्फ arsenic poisoning क्यों? Okay. So whatever you have thought of is by and large correct. But हमें अगर ऐसा सोचना है, it would be better if we are able to think in a particular framework. है ना? अभी मान लो हमें we have to think of water challenges in agriculture. Right? This was the topic in front of you. तो मैं इसको अगर एक फ्रेमवर्क से सोचता, I would have generated a lot more points. सबसे पहले मैं सोचता हूं कि अगर एक फील्ड की बात है, where is the water coming from? कहां से आ रहा है पानी? तो अगर if I talk about where is the water coming from, it can either come from rainwater. If it is coming from rainwater, there is a problem of rain-fed agriculture because this is not certain. There is also a challenge of climate change here, that rains are becoming intense and less frequent. दूसरा ऑप्शन है कि मैं रिवर से वाटर ले रहा हूं. रिवर से वाटर ले रहा हूं मैं थ्रू इरिगेशन. ठीक है. अब रिवर की अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स है, दैट द रिवर इज पॉल्यूटेड. तो यहां पर एफ्लुएंट्स हैं, यहां पे सीवेज वाटर की प्रॉब्लम है. और इरिगेशन सिस्टम्स में भी अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. इरिगेशन सिस्टम्स में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? देयर इज अ टर्म कॉल्ड इरिगेशन पोटेंशियल क्रिएटेड. Irrigation potential created in our economy means the amount of water that we are going to supply to a particular field under a scheme. जैसे मान लो कि ये एक फील्ड है, इस पे मैंने कहा कि दिस इज माय एंटायर एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड. मैंने कहा दैट आई विल कवर 100 हेक्टेयर्स ऑफ एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड with let's say 10 liters of water. बहुत कम अमाउंट है ये, but I'm just giving an example. मैंने एक स्कीम बनाई that I am going to cover 100 hectares of agricultural land with 10 liters of water. Okay. This is the scheme I have made. So this is the irrigation potential that I have created. Irrigation potential created के अलावा जो दूसरी टर्म होती है वो होती है irrigation potential utilized. This is another keyword. Irrigation potential utilized means कि मैंने क्रिएट तो कर दिया ये पोटेंशियल, बट एक्चुअली क्या 100 हेक्टेयर्स के लैंड में हर जगह 10 लीटर यूज हुआ? अब यहां पर गैप क्यों आता है आईपीसी और आईपीयू में, ये समझते हैं. लेट्स से दिस इज द फील्ड. ठीक है, दिस इज द फील्ड. फील्ड में अल्टीमेटली वाटर को पहुंचना है. दिस इज द रिवर. मुझे रिवर से वाटर यहां तक पहुंचाना है. सो फर्स्ट व्हाट विल आई डू? आई विल क्रिएट अ रेजर्वोयर और अ डैम. मैंने ये रेजर्वोयर तो क्रिएट कर दिया, बट ये जो लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी है कि रेजर्वोयर में पानी आ गया, डैम में पानी आ गया, बट फ्रॉम हियर फॉर इट टू गो टू द फील्ड एंड अल्टीमेटली रीच द फील्ड, ये भी तो एक चैलेंज है. आई हैव टू डू दिस मैनेजमेंट ऑल्सो. इसके ऑपरेशंस मेंटेनेंस भी मुझे देखने हैं. तो अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स दिस ऑपरेशंस एंड मेंटेनेंस इज नेग्लेक्टेड एंड वी विल सी अबाउट दिस इन डिटेल because these operations of the last mile connectivity are neglected. There is a gap between the irrigation potential that we actually create through the reservoir and the irrigation potential we're actually able to utilize. So this is a challenge. Where else can the water come from? The water can also come from groundwater. But here also there is a problem of over extraction. There is also a problem of pollution of groundwater. Okay, so these are the issues if I think about where will my water come from. Okay. अब यहीं पे I'll just write IPC IPU gap. So the issue of last mile connectivity. Okay, these are the issues if I think about where will the water come from. Then the next thing I can think about is where is the water going to go. Okay, मैंने water ले लिया, field में पहुंच गया. Now where is the water going to go? When I think about where is the water going to go, I need to think about there is a crop imbalance. There are certain crops like sugarcane, for example, शुगर केन की प्रॉब्लम क्या है? शुगर केन in Maharashtra, this is a study by the NITI Aayog, uses only 3% of the land. So only 3% of the land in Maharashtra is growing sugarcane, but it is using 60% of the water. And you should note this down. Okay, you can use this as a wonderful example in water. So there is a crop imbalance. There is also a crop imbalance in terms of there are water stress districts. In these water stress districts, what am I doing? I am planting rice. I am planting wheat. I am planting sugarcane. Things that actually take up water. Okay. Then there is a regional imbalance. There are some regions that actually get water and some regions that do not get water. So, इसमें ही you will talk about the issue of interstate water disputes. वाटर की एक ये भी तो प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? अच्छा, अब आगे देखते हैं. इफ आई हैव टू, अब जब मैं देख रहा हूं वेयर इज द वाटर गोइंग, आई एम बेसिकली थिंकिंग अबाउट हाउ इज द वाटर बीइंग यूज्ड. So if I think about the usage of water and if I have to use ground water क्यों यूज करना पड़ रहा है मुझे? ग्राउंड वाटर मुझे ज्यादा इसलिए यूज करना पड़ रहा है बिकॉज दिस चैलेंज ऑफ नॉट डेवलपिंग लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी इज देयर. ग्राउंड वाटर तो फील्ड के जस्ट नीचे है, तो मैं यहां से एक्सट्रैक्ट करके यूज कर सकता हूं. So that is why I am overusing groundwater. But if I have to use groundwater, what is the problem? The problem is that I need to have, the problem is that I need to have power. So power overuse is going to happen. Why? Because tube well लगाना पड़ेगा. जब tube well लगाना पड़ेगा, I will have to use a lot of power. Now the farmer does not have this much ability, so he will need power subsidy. So it is also a challenge on the government's fiscal health because overuse of subsidy is there. Okay, अब ये तो हमने देखा है from the fields perspective. इसमें एक चीज मिसिंग है. यहां पर हम जो भी सोच रहे हैं, we are thinking what if there is less water? पानी अवेलेबल नहीं है, रेन फेड एग्रीकल्चर है, रिवर की प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, but there can also be the problem of more water. If water is more, what are the challenges I face? Waterlogging, salinity. So these are also issues in my water management. Then this I have only looked at from the field's perspective. But there are many other things. ये तो field है. हमने अभी field की बात करी. But overall, if I look at water, there is also a governance structure for water. इस गवर्नेंस स्ट्रक्चर्स में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? दैट देयर इज अ सेंट्रल वाटर कमीशन दैट लुक्स एट सरफेस वाटर. देयर इज अ सेंट्रल ग्राउंड वाटर बोर्ड दैट looks at groundwater. But these two things are not delinked from each other. They are actually very connected phenomena. Surface water and groundwater are linked to each other, but there is a gap between these two. So there is, even in the terms of our institutional management and water governance, there is an issue. Then there were some technologies that I could have used in the field, which I am not using. So the technology is called micro irrigation. तो ये जो micro irrigation की technology थी, I am not able to implement it in the field. So the technological solutions are missing, right? अच्छा, अब this is the idea of issues of water management if we only consider it from the point of view of agriculture. ठीक है? But water management is a much more holistic issue. It is a bigger issue. तो अब हम थोड़ी आम जिंदगी से हटके वाटर इशू को डिटेल में देखते हैं. That if you have to, is there a voice problem? I don't think there should be a voice problem. वॉइस प्रॉब्लम है क्या? सो अगर नहीं है यार तो यू कैन प्लीज नॉट इंटरप्ट माय फ्लो, है ना? ओके, सो नाउ लेट्स लुक एट वाटर एज अ मेजर होलिस्टिक इशू. कि अगर वाटर का क्वेश्चन हमें कहीं भी आ जाए, GS1 में आ जाए, GS2 में आ जाए, GS3 में आ जाए, even in case of an essay that comes on water, we need to have a holistic picture of what is happening in India's water management. ठीक है, ये चीज हम सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं. So let's start. Now what I'm going to teach you, this I want you to write with me. At least scribble with me. Although all of this is in the notes that I have given you, सब कुछ वहां पर है, but water की problem हम समझते हैं, and this is on the basis of the Mihir Shah committee report. It was made in 2016 and they have given a wonderful report across the spectrum to solve the problem of water in India. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले ये रिपोर्ट अपने फर्स्ट चैप्टर में कहती है that India is facing a water crisis. How? हमें पता है कि रिवर्स में पोल्यूशन है, हमें पता है कि ग्राउंड वाटर में पोल्यूशन है, right? These are the things we know about. But it also says that if we continue to utilize the water we are using at the current rate, then by 2030, 50% of the demand of water in India will be unmet. Okay. Then they also talk about the fact that there is a conflict between various states. There is a sewage disposal problem. There is an industrial pollution problem. But ये चीजें तो हमें पता है, and I will give you more stats for this also. This is the first chapter of the report कि इंडिया में एक वाटर क्राइसिस है. मैं आपको इसके स्टैट्स अभी आपके नोट्स में दिए हुए हैं, तो वाटर पे कोई भी क्वेश्चन आएगा वाटर क्राइसिस को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए वी हैव इनफ स्टैट्स. ठीक है, बट ये प्रॉब्लम आई कहां से? The second chapter of this report says that 20th century solutions are no longer viable. What were 20th century solutions? The solutions of the last century. पिछली century में the solutions for water that we made were very simple. They were like, let us create dams and reservoirs. So the approach was on construction. Creation of new projects and construction. This was our approach in the 20th century. But this report said that these 20th century solutions did not work. Why? Firstly, they created a problem of gap of IPC and IPU because there was no last mile connectivity. Because there was no last mile connectivity, what did the farmer respond with? हमने डैम्स तो बनाए 120 हेक्टेयर को इरिगेट करने के लिए, बट एक्चुअली कितना इरिगेट हो पाया? सिर्फ 90 हेक्टेयर्स. तो जो 30 हेक्टेयर बचा वहां पर व्हाट डिड द फार्मर डू? द फार्मर थॉट दैट आई विल यूज ग्राउंड वाटर. सो दे स्टार्टेड मेकिंग ट्यूब वेल्स. इसके लिए वी गेव पावर सब्सिडी. When we gave power subsidy, it led to a further problem that there was cross subsidization in the power sector, although we'll deal about this in detail. But when tube wells started being used, groundwater started to be depleted at a very high rate. Because of this groundwater depletion, there was also a challenge of drinking water in the cities, because even the cities were utilizing the same groundwater for drinking. So today, the status is somewhat like that 80% of our demand of drinking water and 67% of our demand of irrigation is coming from groundwater alone. 80% of drinking, 67% of agricultural water is now coming from groundwater. So the solution to the original problem was last mile connectivity. The solution to this problem was tube wells, but this solution itself has now become a problem in our water management. Okay, so because of this overuse of groundwater, they say that about 60% of India's districts, 60% of India's districts have over exploited their groundwater. So the 20th century solutions that we had are not working. Okay, all right. What next? So after this, they said, and I'll bring this back on the board when I'm giving you a summary. After this, they said, we need a paradigm shift. This is a third chapter and probably the most important chapter of this report. To solve this problem that was coming because of 20th century solutions, we need a paradigm shift. What is the paradigm shift? The paradigm shift is very simple. That we have so far focused on construction, we have focused on new projects in terms of irrigation. But our approach of construction and new project creation needs to shift to management of water and maintenance of water structures. So whatever we originally had, we need to maintain what we originally had, and we need to shift to management of water. Now, what is management of water? ये देखते हैं. Like I was telling you earlier, ये फील्ड है, ये रेजर्वोयर है, यहां पर मेरे को लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी चाहिए. अब what this report says is that irrigation management, this, if you think about it, irrigation management should not be the job of the state government. Why? Because यार ये बहुत ही depend करता है what sort of conditions you are making this last mile connectivity in. This is actually a local governance issue because हर जगह conditions different होंगी. Reservoir बनाने तक तो काम ठीक है, but इसके आगे का जो काम है, this is very personalized, needs to be very tailored to the approach of the area where you are making this last mile connectivity. So they talk about something called irrigation management transfer. Irrigation management transfer means that this state government's job should be limited to this complex creation. So creating these complex reservoirs, this should be the job of the state government. But beyond this, you delegate this responsibility to the farmer. How do you delegate this responsibility? The responsibility of management of irrigation should be transferred to the farmer. How? They say that you create something called water user associations. What will the water user associations do? Firstly, they will construct this last mile connectivity canals and tertiary canals. So there is primary canal, then secondary canal, then tertiary canal. So the final canals that have to go to the fields must be constructed by this water user association. It should have participation from farmers. And currently, state government charges something called irrigation service fees from the farmer for this construction. This irrigation service fees should be charged by this water user association, and it should be kept for operations and management of these final canals. So you transfer the management of water to decentralization and to the farmers themselves by creating water user associations. Okay. Now, once the farmers are themselves involved in this, what will they do? They will ensure that last mile connectivity is there. They will also develop better linkages to the irrigation department. So the interface between the citizen and the government will become better. Okay. Now, to ensure that states do this, the central government, I'm just reading their recommendations, the central government should incentivize the states to make such measures. And they also say that there is something called Participatory Irrigation Management Act, which has so far been passed only by 15 states. And even where it has been passed, it stays on paper. This should be implemented in letter and spirit. So the management and maintenance should be given to water user associations made by the farmers. Because आप खुद सोचो, अगर farmers खुद मिलके of that area, they are ensuring this, they are the ultimate stakeholder. They are the ones who have to manage water. So this would be a much better approach to manage water in this area. Okay. What will this lead to? Firstly, the ultimate stakeholder will be involved. The conflicts that come between the farmers for water management will be better managed because they are all now in a democratic association that is managing water. There will be participatory management of water. And ultimately the issue of water depletion and lack of stakeholder collaboration will be solved. Okay. Through a study, they show that this will lead to 20% saving of water and 50% reduction in costs of water. Okay, this is what they said. Now, iske aage Mihir committee in its 4th chapter, they say that there are new challenges emerging. Ye to challenges purane challenges hai, but there are also some new challenges. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This committee, through a comprehensive study, shows that there is a very integral link between groundwater and river water. अब मुझे भी यही लगता था कि रिवर वाटर से ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज होता है, बट ग्राउंड वाटर से रिवर वाटर रिचार्ज नहीं होता. दिस इज व्हाट आई थॉट अर्लियर बिफोर आई हैड रेड दिस रिपोर्ट. बट दे डेमोन्स्ट्रेट दैट देयर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ रिवर्स. वन आर लूजिंग रिवर्स, वन आर गेनिंग रिवर्स. लूजिंग रिवर्स आर कि ये रिवर जा रही है, इस रिवर ने यहां पे ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज किया, तो इस रिवर ने थोड़ा सा वाटर अपना लूज किया होगा, इसका वाटर कम हुआ होगा, ये वाटर परकोलेट करा और ग्राउंड वाटर रिचार्ज हो गया. ये नॉर्मल रिवर है जो हम पढ़ते हैं. बट देयर आर ऑल्सो गेनिंग रिवर्स दैट एक्चुअली गेट रिचार्ज बिकॉज ऑफ द ग्राउंड वाटर. इसकी ज्योग्राफी में हम नहीं जाएंगे एंड आपसे पूछा भी नहीं जाएगा 99.9%. तो देयर आर गेनिंग रिवर्स स्पेशली इन आवर पेनिनसुला, especially when, let's say, the river is flowing underneath the rocks in its youth stage, it gets recharged because of the groundwater. But because of over exploitation of groundwater in the peninsular regions, most of our gaining rivers कौन सी थी? जो ground water से recharge होकर जिनकी volume बढ़ती थी, those gaining rivers have been transformed into losing rivers. Okay. Now, because of this, because we do not understand the linkage, because we do not understand that there is a linkage between groundwater and river water, this committee has come up with a very interesting keyword. They say that the left hand of groundwater does not know what the right hand of river water is doing. This leads to a problem of, and I want all of you to use this keyword ever if you get a question on water. Hydroschizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a mental disease where you lose the ability to have normal mental functioning. For example, a schizophrenic patient might be speaking to the chair in front of him. They lose their mental abilities. It's a very advanced form of dementia. So they say in India we have hydroschizophrenia because we are eroding groundwater, we are destroying the catchment areas of river, and we don't realize that because of groundwater overuse and exploitation, we are even hurting the river water. There is no way that there is a connection between these two that we realize, and because we do not realize this connection, it is leading to hydroschizophrenia. Okay, then now they also say that this hydroschizophrenia continues in our governance management. Because why? Simply because there is Central Water Commission for surface water and Central Groundwater Board for groundwater. But these are not two different things. This is the same thing. So they say to solve this problem, because to solve these new challenges, they say that we need certain reforms. What reforms do we need? Firstly, they say there is a National Water Framework Bill, which is still in the draft stage, but it has not been implemented. This needs to be implemented. What does this bill say? This bill says that we need to follow 3 principles when we come to any river water management. One is Aviral Dhara, one is Nirmal Dhara, and third is Swachh Kinara. For those who do not understand Hindi, Aviral Dhara means uninterrupted flow. Nirmal Dhara means clean river water, and Swachh Kinara means clean river banks also. Okay, so firstly, this is what you need to do. Secondly, they say that ये जो hydroschizophrenia हो रहा है because of these two bodies working in silos, this needs to be corrected. right? How do you correct this and what is the problem in these two bodies? पहले ये समझते हैं, फिर reform समझेंगे. They say that these two bodies have been made as per the mandate of 20th century, where the focus was on reservoirs and construction. So these two bodies mainly have hydroecologists and civil engineers. So civil engineers हैं because इनका focus ही construction का है. But today the challenges are different. Today the challenges of river management. Today the challenges of climate change. So we need new professionals here. We need a new mandate here. And also we need connectedness between these two. So they say that these two bodies should be merged into one, and a new National Water Commission must be made that will control both groundwater and surface water as one. When they talk about the National Water Commission, they say that the National Water Commission will have a new approach, which will treat river water and groundwater in a particular area as one unit. And it is the management of this hydrological unit that will be done together. Because the management of this will be done together, there will be different bodies. So let's say a particular body to manage one particular unit. This body will have autonomy. This body will take joint decisions for both ground and river water. It will have new professionals from various fields like ecology, economy, environment, climate scientists. All of them will be together, and this management of this unit will be done as one. So there will be integrated management of groundwater and river water. It will be one hydrological unit. Okay. Then the National Water Commission will become the apex body. It will regulate, it will look at states and how they are performing, it will give incentives, it will have a repository of new information. So if you look at India's water management, they have looked at the problem very holistically. Okay, I hope आपको ये समझ आया होगा. Now you get any question on water anywhere, these recommendations need to go in your answers. Okay, एक बार दोबारा से देख लेते हैं कि हमने यहाँ पे क्या क्या पढ़ा. Firstly, we read that India is facing a water crisis. Groundwater pollution है, effluents discharge हो रहे हैं, river water is depleting, groundwater is depleting, urban areas में there is flooding, etc., etc. Problem is that we continue to rely on 20th century solutions and dams and reservoirs and construction. These are not working, और इनके जो solutions थे like tube-wells, they have themselves become the problem. Because of the power sector also there is a problem. We need a paradigm shift in our approach towards water management. In this paradigm shift, we need to change our approach from construction and new project to management and maintenance. And since this is a very tailored process for every region, we need to go towards irrigation management transfer through the creation of water user associations. Then they go on to say that this will only solve the problem of last year, of the 20th century challenges that we have. But there are new challenges we know already in terms of groundwater depletion, etc., etc., effluent management, climate change, rainwater becoming irregular and more intensified, etc. They say for this, we have a problem of hydroschizophrenia because we don't look at the connectivity between groundwater and river water. Therefore, our new approach needs to come where we need to merge these two bodies, the Central Water Commission and the Central Groundwater Board, and make a National Water Commission as an apex body. And for every hydrological unit where there is river water and groundwater, that needs to be managed together. Then they say there is a National Water Framework Bill that has three components: Aviral Dhara, Nirmal Dhara, and Swachh Kinara. This needs to be enforced. I hope this much is understood. समझ आया होगा ये आपको, right? And in any question on water that you get now, this understanding needs to reflect in your answers. अब चाहे ज्योग्राफी का क्वेश्चन हो, कुछ भी हो, इट नीड्स टू बी आंसर्ड लाइक दिस, ठीक है। एंड दिस वर्ड्स ऑफ वाटर यूजर एसोसिएशन, हाइड्रोस्किज़ोफ्रेनिया, नेशनल वाटर कमीशन, दिस नीड्स टू कम। एंड वाटर हर जगह आता है। Even when you get a question on interstate water disputes, 1 or 2 points from here should go in your answer, ठीक है। अब जरा आपके नोट्स देख लेते हैं। तो कुछ चीजें जो वाटर के लिए हमें स्पेसिफिकली पढ़नी है वो हम देखेंगे, ठीक है। दीज आर द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस। व्हाट इज वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी, रोल ऑफ माइक्रो इरिगेशन इन इंक्रीजिंग वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी, दिस वाज द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन। तो मुझे क्या समझ आया कि वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी आई हैव टू read directly. Then impact of national watershed project in increasing agriculture production from water stressed areas. National watershed project we'll see, but national watershed project actually हम पढ़ते हैं in GS1 geography. That's what I'm telling you. There is a huge interlinkage. Then measures to improve water storage and irrigation systems to make its judicious use under depleting scenarios. अब ये question अगर आपको दिख जाए, right, you have to mention the linkages between groundwater and river water. Then how and to what extent micro irrigation would help in solving India's water crisis. So micro irrigation is an important topic and water के लिए मुझे कुछ stats वगैरह भी चाहिए. So now let us read some facts related to water. Okay. सबसे पहले there is a WaterAid water quality index that has ranked India 120 among 122 countries, saying that 70% of our water is contaminated. So this is the water problem. Then in this year's economic survey, they have said two things. That one, irrigation area coverage. The area covered under irrigation has increased from 49.3% earlier to 55% now. And they say the irrigation intensity, which is gross irrigated area to net irrigated area. How many times we are able to irrigate the same area, that has recorded a rise of 10.3 percentage points. Okay. Now, as per the UN report on SDG 6, which is related to clean water, we have met only 56.6% of the target. This is a problem. Then this is a question that has come in geography at least 3 times, which is water stress. तो पहले तो मुझे बताओ व्हाट इज वाटर स्ट्रेस. लेट्स टेस्ट योर नॉलेज ऑफ ज्योग्राफी. व्हाट इज वाटर स्ट्रेस? देन इंडिया का डेटा हम देख लेंगे, बट पहले मैं वाटर स्ट्रेस आपके लिए डिफाइन कर दूं कि वाटर स्ट्रेस होता क्या है. इफ एनीवन नोज व्हाट इज वाटर स्ट्रेस यू कैन टेल मी, अदरवाइज आई विल टेल यू. वेट कर रहा हूं मैं आंसर की. If anyone knows what is water stress, definition of water stress, water table depletion, less water than what is required. जब ऐसे आंसर लिखते हैं ना मेंस में तो नंबर नहीं मिलते, और इसीलिए नहीं मिलते क्योंकि हमने प्रीलिम्स के लिए भी ज्योग्राफी ढंग से नहीं पढ़ा. There is something called Falkenmark indicators. Okay. There is not a qualitative definition of water stress. Qualitative definition नहीं पूछ रहा हूं मैं आपसे, quantitative definition पूछ रहा हूं. Quantitative definition है water stress की. Okay. Now, Falkenmark indicators say that you check the water availability in a country and divide it by the amount of land in that country. Okay. Water availability ये हटा देते हैं, confusion होगा. Divided by the amount of land. Okay. अब इसमें indicators are, there are two indicators. One is an indicator of water stress. So if your water availability divided by the amount of land in your country is less than 1700 meter cubes, this is called water stress. If it is less than 1000 per meter cube, it is called water scarce country. ये है डेफिनेशन ऑफ वाटर स्ट्रेस एंड आज के बाद आप यही लिखोगे. ओके 1700 पर मीटर क्यूब से कम पानी है एक कंट्री में, वाटर अवेलेबिलिटी बाय लैंड, इट इज वाटर स्ट्रेस. 1000 से कम है तो इट इज वाटर स्कार्स. ठीक है. अब अगर हम इजराइल को देखें, इफ वी लुक एट इजराइल, इजराइल हैज ओनली 250 per meter cube, but they are still able to very well manage their water issues. So we cooperate with Israel a lot in water management. And इसके लिए tell me now one initiative, अब IR की knowledge भी check हो जाएगी, where water is a key pillar. One initiative with Israel where water is a key pillar. Thank you. It is the I2U2. Okay. Now, if your water availability is less than 1700 meter cube for one person, you are what? Water scarce. India की देखते हैं. In 1951, our water availability was 5178 cubic meters of water for one person. So we had 5178 in 1500. In 2011, we have 1544. Okay. So we have reduced our water availability from 5000 to 1500. Okay. So what does this mean? This means that we are now a water stressed country at the national level. But Israel is managing even with 250 meter cube of water availability, right? So this becomes something that we can learn from Israel, and therefore in the I2U2 initiative, there are 6 pillars, and the first pillar is water, where we are cooperating with them on water. Okay. Now, agriculture. Agriculture is accounting for more than 80% of water consumption, and 60% of that is groundwater. 52% of the area still in India remains rain-fed. So it was Honorable former Finance Minister and Honorable former President Shri Pranab Mukherjee who said that it is the monsoon which is actually India's Finance Minister. Why? Because 52% of the area is rain-fed. So finance minister actually monsoon है, ये श्री प्रणब मुखर्जी ने कहा था. It is often said that India's monsoon or India's agriculture rather is a gamble on the monsoon. Then World Resource Institute का जो data है, that says this is the global data on agriculture. You can remember any of these points, but this is the one that I like the best. 31% of the global GDP will be exposed to high water stress by 2050. Okay. Then UN has said in a report that 80% of jobs are water dependent. So because of lack of water management, what problems we can face? For this, you can use these stats. Now, Niti Aayog says that only 40% of urban wastewater is treated in India. So we have a huge problem. Understood? Now, आगे देखते हैं definitions. There are 3 definitions we need to know. एक water stress की आपने देख ली, 1700 meter cube से कम पानी है तो water stress है. There are 3 definitions. One is irrigation potential created. This I have told you. One is irrigation potential utilized. This also I have told you. Third is water use efficiency. It is ratio between effective water use and water withdrawal. So amount of water that I effective use of water versus the amount of water I have withdrawn. This is water use efficiency, because ये भी GS1 में एक बार आ चुका है. What is water use efficiency? Direct question has come. Okay. Now, आगे चलते हैं. चैलेंजेस ऑफ वाटर मैनेजमेंट, ये जो आपसे पूछा था, अब तो आई एम श्योर आप ये कर लोगे. रेनफेड एग्रीकल्चर पे डिपेंडेंस, क्रॉप इम्बैलेंस, आईपीसी आईपीयू मिसमैच, irrigation is underutilized because there is no infrastructure at the last mile, pollution issues, more water होगा तो water logging, then imbalanced use of groundwater, lack hydroschizophrenia, these things we have done. अब मैंने आपको काफी पढ़ाया, एक इशू बस यहां पर रह गया है which I wanted to tell you, which was net water exporter. India is currently, and I'll just show you here also, India is currently a net water exporter. What this means, I'll show you. We are contributing 24% of total virtual water trade across the world. What is virtual water trade and what is net water exporter, ये हम समझते हैं. देखो, let's say I have to grow 1 kg of basmati rice. If I grow 1 kg of basmati rice, okay, growing this 1 kg of basmati rice, I will have to spend 1500 liters of water for this. इससे ज्यादा लगता है वैसे 1 किलो राइस उगाने में, but this is just a number. 1500 liters of water has gone into making this 1 kg of basmati rice. Now when I export this, so I have not only exported this, I have virtually also imported this water. So this is the virtual water that gets exported. Let's say I have sent this to US. So ultimately 1500 liters of Indian water was used to fund or finance or actually feed 1 kg of rice to the US population. So we are virtually, if you look at the background, we are a water exporter. We are not directly exporting water, we are exporting virtual water. This is also a problem in our water management. Okay. Now, अभी तक हमने पढ़ा what is the issue of water management in India and what does the Mihir Shah committee say. अब हम पढ़ते हैं next question. This is for you and you have to take 3 minutes. Why is water use efficiency necessary in agriculture? Water use efficiency necessary क्यों है agriculture में? This is the next question. So again I will give you 3 minutes and you tell me why water use efficiency is necessary, then I'll tell you. ओके चलो अब मुझे एक बात बताओ. यू कैन स्टॉप नाउ. यू कैन स्टॉप नाउ. मुझे एक बात बताओ, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर इन राइट स्मार्ट? This is okay. Now you can just tell me how many of you are in Right Smart. Yes, no लिख देना बस. वेरी गुड. बट कुछ सीखा नहीं है आपने राइट स्मार्ट से, है ना? यार इसको हम स्टेक होल्डर से नहीं लिख सकते थे क्या? मैं बताऊंगा तभी हम अप्रोच यूज करेंगे क्या? देखो कौन कौन स्टेक होल्डर है इस प्रोसेस में. एक स्टेक होल्डर है फार्मर, एक स्टेक होल्डर है सिटीजन, एक स्टेक होल्डर है एनवायरमेंट, एक स्टेक होल्डर है गवर्नमेंट. अब अगर मैं सोचूं, कैन आई नॉट थिंक ऑफ वेरियस पॉइंट्स? मेरे पास एटलीस्ट 12 पॉइंट्स आ जाएंगे अगर मैं तीनों में तीन तीन पॉइंट भी लिख लूं. राइट. फॉर द फार्मर इट विल मेक इट इकोनॉमिकली वायबल. He will be able to resist drought. He will be able to resist an irregular monsoon. If I talk of the citizen, if the farmer is doing better, if agriculture is doing better, one, I have better food security, I have lesser food inflation, and since groundwater was something that was available both for agriculture and for drinking water, I have more drinking water availability. If I am using water efficiently in terms of environment, depletion of groundwater, pollution of river water, because issues like eutrophication, water logging, soil salinity, ये सारे वाटर यूज इनएफिशिएंसी की वजह से ही होते हैं. तो एनवायरनमेंट में ये प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व होगी. देन गवर्नमेंट विल नॉट एनी लॉन्गर बी a net water exporter. It will also have effective irrigation. अब अगर प्रीलिम्स का एक आधा पीवाईक्यू भी मुझे याद है तो मैं याद करूंगा कि यार एक चीज होती थी कॉल्ड फर्टिगेशन. एक बार क्वेश्चन आया था प्रीलिम्स में दैट एप्लीकेशन ऑफ ऑल फर्टिलाइजर्स इंक्लूडिंग फॉस्फेटिक फर्टिलाइजर्स इज पॉसिबल थ्रू फर्टिगेशन. वो स्टेटमेंट गलत था. फॉस्फेटिक फर्टिलाइजर्स की फर्टिगेशन नहीं हो सकती. बट फर्टिगेशन होता क्या है? यू मिक्स वाटर एंड फर्टिलाइजर टुगेदर, सो देयर इज बेटर एप्लीकेशन. तो अब फर्टिगेशन अगर मुझे याद आता है तो एनवायरमेंट में आई विल ऑल्सो राइट बेटर फर्टिलाइजर मैनेजमेंट. सिटीजन में आई विल राइट लेस बायो अक्यूमुलेशन एंड फार्मर में आई विल राइट रिड्यूस्ड इनपुट कॉस्ट. इसलिए व्हेन आई आस्क यू अ क्वेश्चन, ऐसे मत करो कि आप इमीडिएटली बस चैट में लिखने के लिए आप जल्दी से जल्दी जो भी दिमाग में आए वो लिखो. थिंक ऑफ दिस अप्रोच. अगर एक अप्रोच दिमाग में आती है तो मेनी 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 पॉइंट्स कैन बी जनरेटेड ना. अब आप और बता रहे हो कि हाँ देर आर वेरियस अदर थिंग्स, सोशल जस्टिस भी है, एनवायरमेंट भी है, देर आर मेनी अदर थिंग्स. बट हम सोचेंगे ऐसे तभी ये बात बनेगी. ठीक है. नाउ यू नो व्हाट द चैलेंजेस इन द वाटर सेक्टर आर. राइट. आपको चैलेंजेस पता है, आपको ये पता है व्हाई वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी इज नेसेसरी. नाउ यू टेल मी अ वे फॉरवर्ड. अब मुझे बताओ एक वे फॉरवर्ड फॉर द वाटर सेक्टर, फॉर वाटर यूज इन इंडिया. व्हाट इज द वे फॉरवर्ड? अगेन आई एम गिविंग यू 3 minutes. अब कोई चैट को स्पैम नहीं करेगा. अब आप सोचोगे ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ वेरियस स्टेक होल्डर्स एंड देन यू विल राइट. ऑल राइट, सो आई होप आपने इस बार थोड़ा सा सोच के लिखा होगा. गुड. गुड. If you were able to write in a particular format, that is what I wanted. अब देखो, अगर मुझे वाटर सेक्टर के लिए वे फॉरवर्ड सोचना है, I first have to think about what can the government do. So government can do something in terms of policy, and government can do something in terms of institutions. अब ये चीजें हम मोस्टली ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, राइट? फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यू कैन स्टॉप the subsidy of water, you can price water, you can put a regulation on groundwater, you can do integrated management. अब इसमें एक दो keywords हैं that I want you to write. Ashok Gulati sir has said, and even the economic survey has said, that our focus is on land productivity. कि हमारे 1 एकड़ ऑफ लैंड से कितना प्रोडक्शन होता है. फ्रॉम लैंड प्रोडक्टिविटी वी नीड टू गो टू वाटर प्रोडक्टिविटी. अब ये कीवर्ड आपके आंसर में आना चाहिए. देन इन टर्म्स ऑफ पॉलिसी, इवन स्टेट्स, every state for its own needs to make a water policy. All right. Then if you look at the creation of water harvesting structures, आपने सुना होगा आहार, फड, ये जो ट्रेडिशनल वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग स्ट्रक्चर्स हैं, इनको हमें बनाना है, बट वी ऑलरेडी हैव अ स्कीम वेयर वी हैव पीपल who are unskilled laborers. So to connect MG Narega to the creation of water harvesting structures. Now these are unique points जो शायद आप नहीं सोच पाते. Now of course there is the creation of National Water Commission and the merger of the Central Water Commission and the Central Groundwater Board. Then there is also the National Water Framework Bill. इसकी भी बात हमने करी थी और इसके 3 कंपोनेंट्स की भी बात हमने करी थी, राइट? दिस इज ऑल्सो समथिंग वी नीड टू डू. अब इसमें वी ऑल्सो नीड टू ऐड वही जो चीजें हम पढ़ चुके हैं, वाटर यूजर एसोसिएशन, इरिगेशन मैनेजमेंट ट्रांसफर, पार्टिसिपेटरी इरिगेशन मैनेजमेंट एक्ट. ये चीजें हमें करनी है. बट गवर्नमेंट इज ओनली वन एक्टर हियर. द अदर एक्टर हियर इज द फार्मर. नाउ इन टर्म्स ऑफ द फार्मर, राइट, फार्मर क्या क्या करे? फार्मर में एक इशू है ऑफ बिहेवियरल चेंज. सो वी नीड टू चेंज द बिहेवियर ऑफ द फार्मर, राइट? इसके लिए हमें क्या करना होगा? एजुकेशन, बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस, अवेयरनेस, राइट? So that farmer behavior also changes and they stop misusing or let's say wasting water. Okay, peer learning needs to happen. Then another stakeholder we can use here is technology. अब ये अगर आपने सोच लिया तो आई एम वेरी प्राउड ऑफ यू, लेकिन आप सबको आता जरूर है ये. सिस्टम ऑफ राइस इंटेंसिफिकेशन. आई एम ऑलमोस्ट श्योर कि आपने नहीं सोचा होगा, ऑल्दो आपने पढ़ा जरूर होगा प्रीलिम्स के पीवाईक्यू में, राइट? सिस्टम ऑफ राइस इंटेंसिफिकेशन इज ऑल्सो डन टू स्टॉप वाटर यूजेज, एक्सेस वाटर यूजेज इन राइस. तो ये हम यहां लिखेंगे. बाकी तो हमें पता ही है, डायरेक्ट सीडिंग ऑफ राइस, माइक्रो इरिगेशन एक्सेट्रा. एक चीज जो आपने और नहीं सोची होगी, वो वाटर यूज कहां हो रहा है? क्रॉप्स के लिए यूज हो रहा है. तो क्रॉप मैनेजमेंट, क्रॉप प्लानिंग, प्रमोशन ऑफ मिलेट्स, स्टॉपिंग एक्सेस प्लांटिंग ऑफ शुगरकेन, राइस, व्हीट. तो क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन इज ऑल्सो अ स्टेक होल्डर हियर. एंड अगर मुझे वाटर के लिए वे फॉरवर्ड सोचना है, व्हाट हैपेंस टू द वाटर दैट आई हैव ऑलरेडी वेस्टेड? काफी वाटर तो मैं वेस्ट कर चुका हूं ना ऑलरेडी. ये ऑलरेडी वेस्टेड वाटर का क्या करें? This already wasted water also needs to be managed effectively. And where will this already wasted water go? This already wasted water needs grey water management. It needs water reuse. It needs water recycling. ठीक है? अब this is the way forward if I have to write for water. Okay? नाउ लेट्स गो फॉर योर नोट्स. यहां पर वही मीहिर शाह कमेटी की रिकमेंडेशंस एक्सेट्रा लिखी हैं. Importance of water use efficiency for the farmer, for the citizen, for the environment, for the government, this is written. Then way forward in terms of policy measures, ये वही है चीजें जो मैं आपको पढ़ा चुका हूं. नेशनल वाटर फ्रेमवर्क बिल, इंस्टीट्यूशनल रिफॉर्म्स like irrigation management transfer, capacity building, etc. Then behavioral changes, technological interventions, water recycling and crop selection. This we have read. ये सेम चीजें हैं, आपका बस काम है इसे एक बार रीड करना आफ्टर द क्लास इज डन. Then we now need to read about certain schemes on water जो न्यूज में है, and also we need to read about certain case studies. काफी इंटरेस्टिंग केस स्टडीज मैं आपको अभी दिखाऊंगा on water management, and these case studies you can write maybe 1 or 2 when you have to write your answers. तो सबसे पहले तो the scheme we have to read is the प्रधानमंत्री कृषि सिंचाई योजना. This is currently the overarching scheme for irrigation in the country. इसके कंपोनेंट्स क्या हैं? ऑल्दो ये प्रीलिम्स के लिए पढ़ लिया होगा आपने. सबसे पहले डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ वाटर रिसोर्सेज है, which is under the Ministry of Jal Shakti. They are running this accelerated irrigation benefit program, where there is financial assistance for major and medium irrigation projects. हर खेत को पानी is a component. इसके अंदर कुछ सब components हैं. For example, command area development, so optimizing irrigation potential, micro irrigation, underground pipelines, सरफेस माइनर इरिगेशन, सो स्मॉल इरिगेशन प्रोजेक्ट्स जो होंगे उनको यहां पर सपोर्ट किया जाएगा. एंड द थर्ड कंपोनेंट अंडर हर खेत को पानी इज रिपेयर, रेनोवेशन एंड रेस्टोरेशन ऑफ वाटर बॉडीज. देन द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ लैंड रिसोर्सेज इन द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ वाटर, इन द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट हैज अनदर कंपोनेंट कॉल्ड वाटरशेड डेवलपमेंट अंडर दिस. एंड देन द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर एंड फार्मर्स वेलफेयर हैज per drop more crop. So these are 4 components: per drop more crop, watershed development, हर खेत को पानी, and accelerated irrigation benefit program under Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. This yojana is actually the most important scheme for irrigation management in the country right now. तो ये आपको आनी चाहिए, right? Then there are few other schemes like Jal Kranti Abhiyan, Jal Jeevan Mission, Rainfed Area Development Program. I am assuming आप prelims में पढ़ चुके हो, so I am not going into a lot of detail with these. It just needs to come to your mind if schemes are asked. Then अब हम पढ़ते हैं कुछ case studies. सबसे पहले there is Mission Kakatiya in Telangana. What does Mission Kakatiya say? That restoration and rejuvenation of tanks and other minor irrigation sources. Then there is Neeru Chetu. This is in Andhra Pradesh. This is improving groundwater levels and promoting the construction of check dams, percolation tanks, etc. Then there is Jal Yukt Shivar Abhiyan. This is in Maharashtra. Again, farm ponds, percolation tanks, check dams. आपको ये सारे याद नहीं करने हैं. You have to remember just 1 or 2 to write as case studies and examples. I have given many here ताकि आपको जो अच्छा लगे आप याद कर सको. You can remember 1 or 2 of these. अब case studies पे आते हैं. ये जो पहली 4 केस स्टडीज हैं ये हमें ट्राई करेंगे कि हम इन्हीं में से याद करें, बिकॉज द फर्स्ट 4 रिटन हियर आर फ्रॉम दिस ईयर्स इकोनॉमिक सर्वे. सो ऑटोमेशन ऑफ इरिगेशन सिस्टम वाज डन इन नारायणपुर लेफ्ट बैंक कैनाल इन कर्नाटका. पहले यहाँ पर मैनुअल क्लोजिंग ऑफ गेट्स, मैनुअल मैनेजमेंट ऑफ कैनाल थी, इसको इन्होंने ऑटोमेट कर दिया यूजिंग वीसैट कम्युनिकेशन सिस्टम. सोलर पावर्ड गेट्स बना दिए, तो इट लेड टू मोर एफिशिएंट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन एंड वाटर मैनेजमेंट. Then there is diversion based irrigation system. ये है मध्य प्रदेश में. Diversion based irrigation system में क्या है? They are using gravity potential and not using a lot of power. Gravity potential use करके उन्होंने pipes ऐसे बनाई हैं that उनमें जो diversions हैं pipe में they are downhill. So the structure is on top. The pipes are diverting downhill. तो gravity से water जाता है and water distribution होती है, तो power management बढ़िया होती है. Then this is happening in Australia. They are actually growing tomatoes without soil using hydroponics. And this is also leading to a lot of water management and also a lot of greenhouse gas management. Because you can grow them vertically then in a building and only water is there. So there is the plant ki root, and there is only water, no soil. This is called hydroponics. It's being done in Port Augusta farm in South Australia. Then in the middle Teesta river basin, Middle Titsa river is in Europe. It's a branch of the Danube river that flows in Ukraine. वहां पर there is temporary flood water storage. जो flooding होती है उस water को वो store कर लेते हैं. ये 4 केस स्टडीज अगर मैच कर जाए तो ये लिखना इज बेटर बिकॉज इट इज इन दिस ईयर्स इकोनॉमिक सर्वे, राइट? नाउ 24/7 metered water in Punjab. This is that they are metering groundwater in some areas of Punjab so that there is not there is no free water availability. So a metering of water say they are ensuring that water management becomes better. Then community-based water management in Andhra Pradesh, this is similar to the creation of water user associations. Mission Kakatiya we have read. Jyoti Gram Yojana is pretty interesting. Jyoti Gram Yojana we can use when we come to power management. So this was done in Gujarat. What they did was that this is the power supply. They segregated it into agricultural power and actually village power. So village mein to they gave 24/7 power for normal use, but for agricultural power, which was meant for water extraction, they only gave it for 8 hours a day. So once the feeder lines were separated, there was better power management and also better water management. Then in Hyderabad, there is root zone watering. इन्होंने क्या किया? Customized clay pots बनाए and they put them only at the root zones so that the water goes exactly where the root of the plant is and not everywhere. Then there is Pani Panchayat in Odisha, again a similar example to a water user association. तो जब आप water user association लिख रहे हो, you should write example creation of Pani Panchayat in Odisha. Then one interesting case study here is bamboo drip irrigation in Meghalaya. So from bamboos they have made a micro irrigation system. तो अभी जब हम micro irrigation पढ़ेंगे तो वहां you can give this example. And lastly there is I2U2 जो हम पढ़ चुके हैं. अब although I am sure this question also you are going to ask, और नहीं भी पूछोगे तो कभी ना कभी आएगा ही कि this is too much content and I think somebody had already written this in the chat कि content ज्यादा है. देखो अब मान लो मुझे water के notes बनाने हैं, ठीक है? What will I write? I will firstly write why is there a need for water use efficiency. Then I will write what are the challenges. Then I will write what is the way forward. यहां तक तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Now from the schemes and from the case studies I have read, प्रधानमंत्री कृषि सिंचाई योजना is non-negotiable. ये तो मुझे याद करना ही है. Now ये case studies read करके in my notes I will add maybe 2 points here, 2 case studies here, 2 case studies here, 2 here. राइट 4 या 5 केस स्टडी है, 6 भी बहुत ज्यादा है. मे बी 4 केस स्टडीज इन टोटल. फॉर एग्जांपल आई यूज्ड टू रिमेंबर पानी पंचायत, आई यूज्ड टू रिमेंबर मिशन काकतिया, आई यूज्ड टू रिमेंबर बैम्बू ड्रिप इरिगेशन. और इस साल के इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में आई विल रिमेंबर फॉर एग्जांपल टमेटोज यूजिंग हाइड्रोपोनिक्स और फ्लड वाटर स्टोरेज, एक्सेस फ्लड वाटर स्टोरेज इन मिडिल तीस्ता बेसिन, राइट? और अगर कैनाल्स पे क्वेश्चन आ जाए वो कर्नाटका का ऑटोमेटेड कैनाल मैनेजमेंट. नाउ आई हैव रिमेंबर्ड दीस 6 केस स्टडीज. ऑटोमेटेड कैनाल मैनेजमेंट, दिस इज व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू रिमेंबर. नाउ व्हेन अ क्वेश्चन ऑन वाटर कम्स आई विल राइट माय पॉइंट. सॉरी अबाउट दिस, आई शुड नॉट हैव डन दिस, बट अब कुछ हो नहीं सकता. व्हेन अ क्वेश्चन ऑन वाटर नाउ कम्स, लेट्स से इट इज आस्किंग challenges of water management and way forward, I will write challenges like this. I will write way forward like this. Here I will make a box and write Pani Panchayat. Here I will make a box and write tomatoes without soil. Just to show the examiner कि मेरे पास और information भी है. It is not limited to this. Then when I am writing here water user association, then I will write example community based water management in Andhra Pradesh, right? तो यही examples हैं. अब थोड़ा काम आपको करना है कि आपको वो सिलेक्ट करना है जो आप याद कर सको, राइट? आई डोंट थिंक इसके बियॉन्ड मैं स्पून फीडिंग कर सकता हूं। इसके बियॉन्ड स्पून फीडिंग यही होगी कि मैं आपका आंसर लिख दूं, विच इज प्रोबेबली नॉट पॉसिबल, राइट? एंड यू कैन ऑल्सो यूज दिस इन अदर एरियाज, है ना? जब वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी पे क्वेश्चन आए तो बाकी जगह भी यूज करो इन्हीं चीजों को। इकरा इज आस्किंग, डू वी हैव टू राइट केस स्टडीज एज एग्जांपल्स? बिल्कुल लिखो, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम? एग्जांपल्स की कमी रहती है हमेशा ही। अब देयर इज नो शॉर्टेज ऑफ एग्जांपल्स, ठीक है? चलो अब आते हैं माइक्रो इरिगेशन पे। अब मेरा मोनोलॉग खत्म और आपका सोचने का टाइम शुरू, ठीक है? लेट्स कम टू माइक्रो इरिगेशन। नाउ यू टेल मी, माइक्रो इरिगेशन अच्छा है ना? व्हाट इज माइक्रो इरिगेशन में थोड़ा बता देता हूं। माइक्रो इरिगेशन बेसिकली मींस that I am doing drip irrigation, sprinklers. I am not flooding the field. मैं फील्ड को फ्लड नहीं कर रहा, ऐसे जहां पर प्लांट है I will irrigate only here in this area, है ना? इससे रिलेटेड कोई अगर एकदम से केस स्टडी भी दिमाग में आ गई, दो आनी चाहिए, एक कस्टमाइज क्ले पॉट्स वाली और एक बैम्बू ड्रिप इरिगेशन की। तो अब माइक्रो इरिगेशन में दो बढ़िया एग्जांपल हैं आपके पास जो आपके कंपेटिटर्स के पास नहीं है, तो +1 तो हो गया। अब यहां पर मैं पानी दूं, why should I give water here only? Because obviously it will lead to better water use efficiency. ये बात सबको पता है that micro irrigation is a good thing and we should do it. Now you have to tell me, if it is such a good thing, what are the issues of adoption of micro irrigation? Issues of adoption of micro irrigation in India. Why am I unable to adopt micro irrigation if it is such a good thing? थोड़े से हिंट दे देता हूं, चलो नहीं देता, आप खुद सोचो। यू हैव 3 मिनट्स। सबको कॉस्ट याद आता है, देख लो, अगर आपके पॉइंट्स आपके कंपेटिटर्स भी लिख रहे हैं तो मतलब वो बहुत कॉमन पॉइंट है। वही कर लिया आप लोगों ने, स्टार्ट कर दिया चैट को स्पैम करना, सोचा नहीं किसी अप्रोच को यूज करके। थिंक थिंक, टेक योर टाइम एंड थिंक। चलो, at least I am seeing some better answers in the chat now. उदन, why do you have to go by the name? मैंने पढ़ाया तो है माइक्रो इरिगेशन क्या होता है, अभी तो पढ़ाया आपको व्हाट इज माइक्रो इरिगेशन. इट इज ड्रिप इरिगेशन, स्प्रिंकलर्स एक्सेट्रा. देखो, अगर मुझे माइक्रो इरिगेशन के इश्यूज दिखने थे तो मैं सोचता हूं कि इसे यूज कैसे किया जाएगा. पहले देयर विल बी सम इनिशियल सेटअप, देन देयर विल बी सम ऑपरेशंस, देन उसके बाद मे बी देयर विल बी मेंटेनेंस. अब इनिशियल सेटअप में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस इज अ कॉस्टली अफेयर, तो कॉस्ट की प्रॉब्लम तो है ही. बट देयर आर ऑल्सो फ्रेगमेंटेड लैंड होल्डिंग्स इन इंडिया. देयर इज एन इश्यूज ऑफ इकोनॉमी ऑफ स्केल. तो स्केलेबल ही नहीं है वो छोटे लैंड एरियाज में. So this is the initial problem: cost, fragmented land holding, and economies of scale. But then there is also an operations problem. Operations problem में क्या है? पहले तो मुझे skilled लोग चाहिए to operate it, जो नहीं है. Then you have read about the stray cattle issue. आपको पता होगा that there is an issue with regards to stray cattle and stray animals in Indian farms. यहां से क्या होता है, उनकी ट्रैम्पलिंग हो जाती है ना? So once this trampling of these micro irrigation systems happen, how do you then maintain them or restore them? Then there is a water quality issue. If water quality is not good, it can lead to clogging of these pipes, क्योंकि water हमारा impure है. Then there are also issues of the field. Fields level ही नहीं है. They are not level like this. वो ऐसे ऐसे हैं. तो अगर वो level नहीं है, तो you cannot put micro irrigation systems there. Then running it will also require energy. तो ये इश्यूज है. अब उसके बाद मेंटेनेंस के लिए भी कॉस्ट इज हाई, स्किल इज नीडेड, और skilled individuals who can maintain this in the villages are missing, and it has to be adaptable to various conditions. Adaptability is actually across the spectrum. It has to be adaptable to various conditions in different regions of India. These are the major issues with taking up micro irrigation in India. ठीक है, इन वजह से हम माइक्रो इरिगेशन नहीं ले पा रहे. ओके, अब नेक्स्ट थिंग, माइक्रो इरिगेशन लेने में कुछ इश्यूज हैं, राइट? बट डेफिनेटली इसकी कोई एडवांटेजेस होंगी, तभी हम चाहते हैं. दैट इज व्हाई द क्वेश्चन हैड आल्सो कम, वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी एंड माइक्रो इरिगेशन. सो नाउ यू टेल मी, यूजिंग अ स्टेक होल्डर अप्रोच, व्हाट आर द एडवांटेजेस ऑफ माइक्रो इरिगेशन? एंड अगेन प्लीज थोड़ा खुद का दिमाग लगाना. If you are not giving means this year, you should take your time and watch this, and you should actually think in these 3 minutes. जो आपको इन 3 मिनट में याद आ गया वो तो आप नहीं भूल रहे हो, that is for sure. What are the advantages of micro irrigation? किसको क्या क्या एडवांटेज है? कुछ क्रॉप्स को एडवांटेज होगी, कुछ एनवायरमेंट को होगी, कुछ फार्मर्स को होगी, कुछ गवर्नमेंट को होगी. बताओ, सोचो. किसी ने दिमाग नहीं लगाया अभी तक. स्टिल किसी ने दिमाग नहीं लगाया अभी तक. स्मार्ट वर्क नहीं करते ना आप लोग. Finally, I'll stop now. किसी ने दिमाग लगाया. Who was this? Kakarot. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. मुझे एक बात बताओ, ये चीज हम पढ़ चुके हैं ना. Why is water use efficiency necessary? इसमें और माइक्रो इरिगेशन में क्या फर्क है? माइक्रो इरिगेशन करेंगे तो वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी होगी. सो फॉर द फार्मर it will become economically viable. He will be able to resist drought and irregular monsoon. The citizens will have better availability of groundwater. They will have better food security, less food inflation. With micro irrigation, we can do fertigation. We can put water and fertilizer together. So input cost for the farmer will be reduced. There will be better environmental management. जो depletion of groundwater है वो नहीं होगा. Pollution like eutrophication, soil surface runoff will not happen. The government will have effective water management. We will no longer remain a net water exporter. है ना. इसमें क्या ही था, यही चीजें लिखनी थी हमें. इट वॉज द सेम थिंग. इसका मतलब है दैट यू आर नॉट स्टडिंग एक्टिवली. यू आर ओनली थिंकिंग व्हेन आई एम आस्किंग यू टू थिंक, नॉट जनरली थिंकिंग. तो ये प्रॉब्लम थोड़ी सी सॉल्व करो. Advantages of micro irrigation are pretty much the same of water use efficiency. There is no much difference. The only difference that I can tell you specifically is that then when you do irrigation directly here, okay, it also leads to less weeds. Because एक अप्रोच है कि आप पूरे फील्ड में पानी डाल दो ऐसे, you water the entire field. और दूसरी अप्रोच है कि you put water just here in this area. If you are putting water only here, then weeds are unlikely to grow here. So this gives an advantage, one, to the farmer in terms of economic viability. Second, to the farmer in terms of effort, that he doesn't have to do specific effort to take these weeds out. And thirdly, to the environment, because less weedicide will be used, so there will be more organic produce. Okay. बट अदरवाइज जो बेनिफिट्स वाटर यूज एफिशिएंसी के हैं वही लिखने हैं हमें. ठीक है. दिस नॉट मच इट्स नॉट वेरी डिफरेंट. नाउ अब माइक्रो इरिगेशन पे अगर हम जाएं, इश्यूज इन अडॉप्शन, वही जो हमने देखा था, सेम थिंग इज हियर. बेनिफिट्स ऑफ माइक्रो इरिगेशन, अगेन क्रॉप प्रोडक्टिविटी, न्यूट्रिएंट मैनेजमेंट, सॉइल कंजर्वेशन, एनर्जी सेविंग. इसमें आप कंफ्यूज हो सकते हो. Energy saving happens in micro irrigation if you compare it to someone who had been using tube wells. Tube wells से ज़्यादा energy efficient system है. But if you compare it to someone who has been doing rainwater based agriculture, rain fed agriculture, then it is not energy saving. ठीक है. तो rain fed agriculture के लिए it is not energy saving, but for tube well based agriculture it is energy saving. Understood? Then water use efficiency, climate resilience, same points जो हमने water use efficiency में सोचे थे, same. अब let us think about what is the way forward, what can we do. तो यहां पर there are some things we need to read. Firstly, we need to expand the irrigation coverage under micro irrigation. We need to do better farmer education. For water intensive crops like sugarcane and rice, micro irrigation must be mandatory. And we need special loan schemes, and we need better agricultural credit. We will read agricultural credit also separately. Better agricultural credit will mean they are able to get loans easily. जब loan easily मिलेगा तो they can adopt micro irrigation. Now in this year's economic survey, 2 schemes have been mentioned for micro irrigation. One of them is the micro irrigation fund, which has been created with NABARD with rupees 5,000 crores. The second is per drop more crop. ये हम पढ़ चुके हैं. It also supports micro level water harvesting and micro irrigation. So in the larger context of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, this is also supported. अब ये है दलवाई पैनल. ये आपका रेफरेंस आपको यहां कहीं बार दिखेगा. This is actually the Ashok Dalwai panel on doubling farmers income. और ये टॉपिक भी हम डिटेल में पढ़ेंगे. They gave a 14 volume, some 3000 page report on how farmers income can be doubled in India. Okay, वहां से कुछ कुछ एक्सट्रैक्ट किया है, पूरा मैं नहीं पढ़ पाया हूं, बट आई एम श्योर whenever I get free time I'm going to read this complete report. It is beautifully written. ठीक है. So what they have said is precision agriculture by way of micro irrigation is important. Micro irrigation must be a compulsory agenda in all forms of irrigation. In all command areas, micro irrigation systems must be compulsorily adopted. So they have said that if we do micro irrigation and we compulsorily adopt it, we can go towards doubling of farmers income. और इस कमिटी की recommendation है, so you can use this in the conclusion. अब माइक्रो इरिगेशन के लिए यू नो व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस इन अडॉप्टिंग इट, व्हाट आर इट्स एडवांटेजेस, व्हाट इज द वे फॉरवर्ड. अंडरस्टूड? ठीक है. अब लेट अस मूव ऑन टू फर्टिलाइजर्स. अब फर्टिलाइजर्स पे इस बार के इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में काफी डिस्कशन है, तो फर्टिलाइजर्स इस बार काफी लाइकली भी है. फर्टिलाइजर्स एज एन एग्रीकल्चरल इनपुट. ठीक है. ओके, सो इट्स बिन 1.5 hours. थोड़ा सा ब्रेक ले लेते हैं, देन वील स्टार्ट विद फर्टिलाइजर्स. हमने स्टार्ट किया था तो हमें 3 चीजें पढ़नी थी: वाटर, फर्टिलाइजर्स एंड ई टेक्नोलॉजी. फर्टिलाइजर्स स्मॉल टॉपिक, इसके बाद हम ई टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़ेंगे. आई एम गिविंग यू अ ब्रेक फॉर 5 minutes and then we will start with fertilizers in detail. Fertilizers mein we'll read about the issues of subsidy management in fertilizers, then again what is the way forward, etc etc. ठीक है. All right, so break for 5 minutes. We will continue from here. हाँ बिल्कुल कर सकते हो स्टेक होल्डर्स अप्रोच यूज. not a problem. Okay, Ashika, I'll do something. टाइम इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम अभिषेक, टाइम हो जाएगा शॉर्ट धीरे धीरे. अभी आप अपने आंसर पे फोकस करोगे, टाइम बाद में भी हो जाएगा फिक्स, नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. ठीक है, चलो देखो, फर्टिलाइजर्स के लिए पहले थोड़ा सा डेटा है जो हमें पढ़ना है. ठीक है, देखो, फर्स्टली we consume about 55 million metric tons of fertilizers annually. 30% of this is imported. And we are the third largest producer, second largest consumer of fertilizers. Urea currently is the most produced, most consumed, and most imported fertilizer in the country. And this particular sector is projected to register a CAGR of 11.9% in the next few years. Now, there is a Lok Sabha standing committee of the Ministry of Fertilizers, and what has it said? That urea currently accounts of more than 82% of the nitrogenous fertilizers that is applied. तो जो ideal nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium का ratio है, that is supposed to be 4:3:1. बट इंडिया में क्या हो गया इस वजह से 7:2.8:1, because we are overusing urea which is providing nitrogen but not using phosphorus and potassium based fertilizers because they are more expensive than urea. यूरिया पे गवर्नमेंट सब्सिडी देती है, तो जो सॉइल का एनपीके का आइडियल रेशियो है वर्सेस जो एक्चुअल है इंडिया में, उसमें बहुत गैप है. They also say that, this is from the last year's economic survey, that 1 rupee if we spend on agricultural research and development, return आता है 11.2 rupees. So 11 times return is there. But if we spend 1 rupee on fertilizer subsidy, return is 0.88 in terms of agricultural output. So spending money on fertilizer subsidy is actually losing money for India in the long run. But we have to do it because of our political compulsions and the condition of our agriculture. So they say that actually money should be spent here on agricultural research and development. If we look at the trends of fertilizer consumption, it has increased from this number 197.67 to 357 lakh tons. And these two fertilizers, this is diammonium phosphate, DAP, and this is muriate of potash. So phosphate and potash, this is showing fluctuations. So यूरिया जो नाइट्रोजनस फर्टिलाइजर है वो तो हम कर रहे हैं ओवर यूज, और पोटेशियम और फास्फोरस के जो फर्टिलाइजर्स हैं वो हम कम यूज कर रहे हैं. और इसके अलावा जो माइक्रो न्यूट्रिएंट्स हैं, लाइक जिंक, सल्फर, उन पे हमारी फोकस ही नहीं है. दिस इज वन ऑफ द मेजर प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ द फर्टिलाइजर सेक्टर. अब एक प्रॉब्लम तो मैंने आपको बता दी, बाकी प्रॉब्लम्स आप मुझे बताओगे कि इन फर्टिलाइजर्स, इन टर्म्स, इफ आई हैव टू राइट द इश्यूज of the fertilizer sector in India, what can be the possible issues? Take 2 minutes and think about this. Issues of fertilizer sector in India. Think about various issues like issues of economics, issues of diversion, issues of usage, और उसके अंदर various issues सोचो. You can keep thinking. ओके, अब अगर मैं इकोनॉमिक्स के इश्यूज देखूं, राइट, व्हाट आर द इश्यूज ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर इकोनॉमिक्स. तो सबसे पहले तो हमने ये देख ही लिया दैट वी हैव एन इंपोर्ट डिपेंडेंस. Import dependence means what? That the fiscal health of the country, both in terms of balance of payments and later in terms of subsidy भी हम देखेंगे, gets impacted. तो import dependence का इशू है, फिजिकल हेल्थ का इशू है, बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट्स का इशू है, सब्सिडी का इशू है फर्टिलाइजर में. देन अगर मैं फार्मर के लिए सोचूं तो इट विल लीड टू हाई इनपुट कॉस्ट, क्योंकि इंपोर्टेड फर्टिलाइजर है फॉर द फार्मर. तो फार्मर की भी इकोनॉमिक्स खराब होती है. एंड अगर आप ज्यादा सब्सिडी देते हो, राइट, लेट्स से टू बीट दिस प्रॉब्लम यू गिव अ लॉट ऑफ सब्सिडी, देयर इज समथिंग इन द WTO कॉल्ड डी मिनिमस लिमिट्स, कि एग्रीकल्चर सब्सिडी पे एक लिमिटेशन है, राइट. यू मस्ट हैव रेड अबाउट ब्लू बॉक्स सब्सिडी, एम्बर बॉक्स सब्सिडी, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. तो वो डी मिनिमस लिमिट्स अगर ब्रीच होती हैं, इंडिया हैज टू कंसिस्टेंटली यूज द पीस क्लॉज. So it creates an issue at the WTO also. Now these are issues of fertilizer economics. Simply just the purchase and use of fertilizer has these issues. Okay. Now let's look at now the issues of usage. Fertilizer को use करने में भी काफी issues हैं, right? अगर मैं सबसे पहले देखूं for the farmer, तो farmer की health impact हो रही है, right? When he is spraying the fertilizer, if he tends to breathe it in, तो farmer की health impact होती है. Similarly, it will also lead to bioaccumulation. It will lead to biomagnification. So even the health of the consumer gets affected. So this is also a problem. Then in case this is happening, the health of the environment also gets affected. So problems like eutrophication, overuse, overuse of fertilizer, soil degradation, these issues will also be there. ठीक है, then इसके अलावा if इसके बाद I have had a balance of payments issue because I have imported fertilizers and used them, but जो product मैं बना रहा हूं, can I export food that it has used excess fertilizers? No, because at the WTO I will face the issues of sanitary and phytosanitary measures, so export also becomes a problem, right? Then soil degradation में हम already देख चुके हैं that there is an imbalance ratio of nutrients because our subsidy regime and our usage regime is not correct. Okay, then since you are giving subsidy to fertilizer, आपने यूरिया पे सब्सिडी दी है, यूरिया इज बीइंग ओवर यूज्ड, यहां पर एक और यूजेज में प्रॉब्लम लिख लेते हैं, यूरिया ओवर यूज, ठीक है, बट देयर आर ऑल्सो डाइवर्जन प्रॉब्लम्स, ये जो सब्सिडाइज्ड फर्टिलाइजर है इट इज बीइंग डाइवर्टेड टू नॉन एग्रीकल्चरल यूज, देयर इज ऑल्सो ब्लैक मार्केटिंग हैपनिंग ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर्स, ठीक है. So if we look at it, these are the issues with regards to the fertilizer sector in India currently. Okay. अब इन्हीं issues को सामने रखते हुए take 2 minutes and remember every possible government scheme that you can remember to solve these issues. गवर्नमेंट की बहुत सारी स्कीम्स हैं यहां पर इन्हीं इश्यूज को सॉल्व करने के लिए. ये टाइमर ऊपर कर देते हैं. Take 2 minutes, timer is running here, and remember government schemes for every single one of these issues. Nano urea liquid is good, neem coated urea good. हर जगह कोई ना कोई स्कीम है गवर्नमेंट की, उसे याद करते हैं तो एक ही माइंड मैप बनेगा हमारा फर्टिलाइजर्स का. उसके बाद soil health card good, nutrient based subsidy good. Lakpati Didi is good, not directly related though. Zero budget natural farming good, neem coated urea good, one nation one fertilizer very nice, DBT very good, urea gold very good, प्रधानमंत्री किसान समृद्धि केंद्र वेरी गुड, पीएम प्रणाम वेरी गुड, गोवर्धन also you can write here good, one nation one fertilizer good, यूरिया गोल्ड कर चुके हैं, सॉयल हेल्थ कार्ड वेरी गुड, भारत फर्टिलाइजर तो वो वन नेशन वन फर्टिलाइजर में ही होता है. ठीक है, तो अब यहीं से हम काउंट करना शुरू करते हैं. हमने ये देख लिया कि ये प्रॉब्लम्स है फर्टिलाइजर सेक्टर की. अब यहीं से इसी माइंड मैप में हम अपने स्कीम्स यहां पर डालते हैं ताकि हमें याद रहे. अब ये जो प्रॉब्लम है इंपोर्ट डिपेंडेंस के लिए, इसके लिए वी हैव अ न्यू यूरिया पॉलिसी. We also have something called nano urea liquid that we are making in India. अब nano urea liquid also solves this BOP problem. Okay. Then अगर ये जो high input cost है इसके लिए भी nano urea liquid है. Why? Because its cost is cheaper than urea. Then जैसे आप लोगों ने ही बताया, there is प्रधानमंत्री किसान समृद्धि केंद्र, right? For low cost fertilizer shops. Okay. Then soil में overuse है, soil degradation हो रही है. So we have soil health card scheme to ensure कि we can check this degradation. For urea overuse, we are having one nation one fertilizer, यहाँ पे भारत टैग फर्टिलाइजर्स हैं. We also have using space technology in this sector. So ISRO is using space technology to find phosphatic fertilizers in India, the region where phosphate is available, ताकि हम phosphatic fertilizers खुद मैन्युफैक्चर कर सके. Then WTO के सैनिटरी एंड फाइटोसैनिटरी मेजर्स को बीट करने के लिए वी हैव परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना, which is for organic farming. We also have zero budget natural farming. Okay. Then to incentivize states ताकि ये इम्बैलेंस रेशियो ऑफ सॉइल खत्म हो, there is PM प्रणाम. It says that chemical fertilizer जो स्टेट यूज करेंगे उन्हें कम करने हैं. Right? For this diversion of urea, we have something called nutrient based subsidy. We have direct benefit transfer. We have neem coating of urea. Okay. तो अब इसी माइंड मैप में मुझे जितनी स्कीम्स याद आई और जो मैंने प्रीलिम्स के लिए पढ़ी हैं, मैं यही फिट कर लेता हूं. सो आई विल बी एबल टू रिमेंबर बेटर. राइट? यहीं पे हाँ, यू कैन राइट अबाउट सिटी कंपोस्ट स्कीम, यू कैन राइट अबाउट नेचुरल मैन्योर, यू कैन राइट अबाउट वर्मी कंपोस्टिंग एक्सेट्रा, वो आप यहीं लिख सकते हैं. राइट? बट आई शुड फिट इट इनटू द सेम माइंड मैप सो दैट आई एम एबल टू रिमेंबर. अब गोवर्धन स्कीम भी बिल्कुल लिख सकते हैं. अब यहां पर एक मेजर डिस्कशन थी ऑन फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी. तो इस प्रॉब्लम को लेट मी एक्सप्लेन टू यू. ठीक है? क्योंकि इस बार के इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में है, तो फर्टिलाइजर्स के हमने ओवरऑल इश्यूज देख लिए, स्कीम्स पता है तो हम वे फॉरवर्ड भी लिख लेंगे, बट वी हैव टू फोकस ऑन फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी. सो लेट्स टॉक अबाउट व्हाट इज द करंट रेजीम. अभी क्या सिस्टम है फर्टिलाइजर सब्सिडी का इंडिया में, और जब हम करंट रेजीम समझ लेंगे तो फिर हम इश्यूज समझने पे जाएंगे. देखो, देयर इज द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कैलकुलेट करता है फॉर एवरी स्टेट द रिकमेंडेड डोज ऑफ न्यूट्रिएंट्स, कि इस स्टेट को ये न्यूट्रिएंट्स इस डोजेज में चाहिए. देन फ्रॉम दिस रिकमेंडेड डोज ऑफ न्यूट्रिएंट्स अ रिकमेंडेड डोज ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर्स इज कैलकुलेटेड फॉर एवरी स्टेट. यहां तक काम है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट क्या करती है, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दिस रिकमेंडेड डोज ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर्स द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट सेल्स फर्टिलाइजर्स. या तो ये सेल करेगी थ्रू डीलर्स, या इट सेल करेगी प्राइमरी एग्रीकल्चरल क्रेडिट सोसाइटीज के थ्रू. या तो PSCS होंगे या डीलर्स होंगे. दे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट विल गिव टू देम एंड दे विल सेल टू द फार्मर. ठीक है? अब होता क्या है कि यहां पर देयर इज अ POS मशीन, पॉइंट ऑफ सेल मशीन. इट इज द सेम मशीन दैट वी यूज, जिसपे हम अपने कार्ड स्वाइप करते हैं एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. ये जो POS मशीन है, इसमें जो डेटा आता है, इससे वी आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कितने फार्मर्स ने कितना सब फर्टिलाइजर खरीदा. सो ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दिस डेटा, subsidy is given. From here, subsidy is given to the fertilizer company. ठीक है? This is the idea of current regime of fertilizer subsidy in India. Center calculates the dose, state will then give to dealer and PSCS. Then from the POS we use this data, and on the basis of कितनी सेल हुई कौन से फर्टिलाइजर की, हम ये डेटा देते हैं. ठीक है? अब यहां पर प्रॉब्लम क्या है, ये जो POS मशीन है यहां पर, this POS machine, this is not integrated with land record data. All you need here is an Aadhaar card. So anyone who has an Aadhaar card, even if you are not a farmer, you can go to this POS machine and buy any amount of fertilizer. There is no limit. No limit on the amount of fertilizers you can buy. Individual limit भी नहीं है और family limit भी नहीं है. ठीक है, तो अब बिकॉज ऑफ दिस, ये पीओएस मशीन में एक फार्मर जाकर खरीद रहा है, पीओएस मशीन में हमारे पास कोई डेटा नहीं है लैंड रिकॉर्ड्स का, उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स का, वो कौन सा क्रॉप उगाते हैं, उन्हें कौन सा फर्टिलाइजर खरीदना चाहिए, वी हैव नो डेटा. सो देयर इज नो लिमिट ऑन व्हाट दे कैन बाय, सिर्फ आधार नंबर चाहिए. अब इससे होगा क्या, बिकॉज देयर इज नो लिमिट, देयर इज ओवर यूज, and because only Aadhaar number is needed, there is diversion. So this year's economic survey says that this is the problem of the current fertilizer subsidy regime, right? अब वो कहते हैं how do you solve this problem? प्रॉब्लम तो आपने बता दी, ये प्रॉब्लम है, आप इसको सॉल्व कैसे करोगे? So I'm sure a lot of you would have heard about something called AgriStack. AgriStack is a digital solution where 3 registries are maintained digitally. Someone who is a farmer, उनका डेटा मेंटेन होता है, which crops they are sowing ये मेंटेन होता है, और villages के मैप्स मेंटेन होते हैं. So how much land you have used, what crop you are sowing, and the map of your village, all of this is being maintained in AgriStack. This is a database. AgriStack भी मैं आपको डिटेल में पढ़ाऊंगा. It is part of the digital agriculture mission. Okay, तो AgriStack में ये 3 चीजें हैं. Now what does the economic survey say? The economic survey says that for this particular subsidy regime, this POS machine needs to be linked to AgriStack. Once this happens, what are the advantages? Firstly, AgriStack में ये 3 डेटा मेंटेन करके हर फार्मर को उनकी यूनिक आईडी दी जाती है. So firstly, we will know that it is actually a farmer who is buying this. Then you can also link this to land record data. So the subsidy will be appropriate. If someone has 5 hectares of land, they should get enough subsidy for fertilizers that are good enough for 5 hectares of land. So it will stop the problem of fertilizer overuse and stop the problem also of diversion, because उन्हें subsidy मिलेगी नहीं. Then they say that later what you can do is you can put soil health card also electronically and then merge this AgriStack data with this SHC data. तो आपने AgriStack में देखा, अच्छा ये बंदा farmer है, these are the crops he is growing, this is the amount of land he has. From here you then access his soil health card and then you give him subsidy for fertilizers. So the overuse of a particular subsidizer and the actual needed fertilizer will go to him. For example, he needs to use muriate of potash, he will get subsidy for muriate of potash. Then they also say that later, let's say there is a particular disaster in a particular state, कहीं drought आ गया, कहीं fertilizer और use करने की issue है. So you use the SDRF data of that particular state, and from that SDRF data later you can integrate the subsidy regime. This is what they have recommended. Then there are some other advantages also. What are the other advantages? Using this, you can also add the names of family members. जो फैमिली मेंबर्स हैं आप उनके नाम ऐड कर दो. Once you add the name of family members, you can ensure that there is a family limit and an individual limit of who is getting this fertilizer subsidy. Then since it is AgriStack, it will be dynamically updated. So if someone has gained more land, the amount of subsidy we give them can also be changed. You can track the crops they are sowing and you can also track their bank accounts to check for possible diversion or whether they need this subsidy or not, right? So this entire problem can be solved with the use of technology. So fertilizer subsidy का issue समझ आया? I hope this is clear. All of this is written in your notes. This is not drawn in your notes. ये मेरा काम है आपको ये समझाना, right? I hope this is clear. अब इसके बाद ये कहते हैं that there is one more solution we can use. Can you think of one more solution in this whole ecosystem? Any other solution that we can use to further enhance the problem, to further solve the problem? कोई और सिस्टम भी है क्या जो हमारे पास है फॉर सब्सिडी मैनेजमेंट दैट वी कैन यूज हियर? आकाश आप रिवाइंड करके दोबारा देख लेना, आई कांट रिपीट दिस होल थिंग अगेन। डीबीटी से बेटर सिस्टम बताओ। डीबीटी तो है, डीबीटी तो है हमारे पास। हैव यू रेड अबाउट समथिंग कॉल्ड ई रूपी? इट इज क्यूआर बेस्ड, SMS based subsidy system which can only be used for what you give it to, right? तो हम ई रूपी देते हैं फार्मर को टू यूज एट दिस POS मशीन, एंड हम उसी फर्टिलाइजर के लिए देंगे यूजिंग दिस डेटा जो उसको चाहिए होगा. So he will only buy here. This is a future suggestion from the economic survey that we use e-rupee, give to the farmer, he will buy at the POS, and if he doesn't buy here, whatever subsidy is left over, he should be able to buy. If he is not doing overuse, some subsidy will be left. Whatever subsidy here is left over, we will allow him to use this subsidy to buy other agricultural inputs, high yielding seeds, for example. Okay, so the economic survey says that this is the subsidy regime. There is a problem of data management. So AgriStack and e-rupee are the solutions to this problem. Okay. Up. Next. We have understood fertilizer sector ke there are some issues, there are some schemes, there is a subsidy regime that we need to fix. तो अब एक बार नोट्स देख लेते हैं. These are some case studies, international case studies and national case studies that we can use. For example, for pest management, this is for pesticides actually. Female pheromone traps are used in Maharashtra. ये मैं आपको पढ़ाऊंगा जब when we read pesticides. Then there is a NREP reduction protocol. So fertilizers generally cause the emission of nitrous oxide in Canada with the 4R approach: right source, right rate, right time, and right place. Sending fertilizers through this, we can reduce GHG emissions. अब अगर आपको ये केस स्टडी नहीं भी याद होती, these 4 R's can be your way forward on a question on fertilizers. Then in Nepal, they are using Eupatorium, which is a invasive shrub, और इसको यूज करके कार्बोनाइजिंग इट दे मेक फर्टिलाइजर, सो इट्स कॉल्ड वेस्ट टू फर्टिलाइजर अप्रोच. ये नेपाल में है. So we can use these case studies. Then there is a definition of sustainable agriculture by the United Nations. Their definition says that sustainable agriculture is resource conserving, accessible, commercially competitive, economically sound, and socially supportive. So if you get a question on sustainable agriculture by UN, you need to use this. Okay, now we've read about fertilizer subsidy issues of fertilizers, diversion, black marketing, etc. Then we've read about what we can do here. We've read about new urea policy, neem coating, city compost, space technology, one nation, one fertilizer, PM KSK, PM Pranam, soil health card, urea gold. Then what is the way forward for the fertilizer sector? ये चीज रह गई है फर्टिलाइजर्स में बस कि फर्टिलाइजर सेक्टर में आपने चैलेंजेस देख लिया, स्कीम्स देख लिया. स्कीम्स विल सर्व एज वे फॉरवर्ड आल्सो in a lot of places. But what is the way forward for the fertilizer sector in India? Again, you have 3 minutes. Think. और 3 थोड़े ज्यादा हैं. 2 minutes. What do we need to do? 2 चीजें तो आपको पता चली गई. AgriStack, very good. 4R. एटलीस्ट अब आप ध्यान से सुन रहे हो. You already know about subsidy management में AgriStack. you already know about e-rupee and you know about 4 hours, right? और बताओ, वेस्ट टू फर्टिलाइजर लिख सकते हैं, गुड। जो स्कीम्स हैं उनको मत लिखो, स्कीम्स हमें पता है यार, वेरी नाइस, यही देख रहा था मैं। यू कैन ऑल्सो राइट अबाउट द डेफिनेशन ऑफ सस्टेनेबल एग्रीकल्चर बाय यूएन, ये भी तो लिख सकते हैं। यस अभिषेक, दिस इज ऑल्सो प्रिटी गुड। देखो, अगर मुझे फर्टिलाइजर यूज करना है, ठीक है, अगर मुझे फर्टिलाइजर यूज करना है, माई अप्रोच मस्ट बी साइंटिफिक ना, ऐसे ही तो यूज नहीं करूंगा मैं। इट मस्ट बी अ साइंटिफिक अप्रोच ऑफ फर्टिलाइजर यूज, ठीक है। देन इट शुड नॉट बी ओवर यूटिलाइज्ड, आई शुड हैव ऑप्टिमम एप्लीकेशन। अब अगर साइंटिफिक यूज में आपने आगे लिखना है तो आप लिखो सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड, तो आप लिखो रैशनलाइज सब्सिडी रेजिम, यूज ऑफ एग्री स्टैक, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, है ना। जब मुझे ऑप्टिमम एप्लीकेशन लिखना है, देन अगेन आई नीड टू राइट द चेंज, द यूज ऑफ एग्री स्टैक, द यूज ऑफ ई रूपी, PMKSK, यूरिया गोल्ड, नीम कोटेड यूरिया, एक्सेट्रा। देन व्हाट आई नीड टू डू इज इंटीग्रेटेड न्यूट्रिएंट मैनेजमेंट। इंटीग्रेटेड न्यूट्रिएंट मैनेजमेंट क्यों? कि इट शुड नॉट ओनली बी फ्रॉम फर्टिलाइजर्स, सिर्फ फर्टिलाइजर से नहीं आनी चाहिए। आई शुड थिंक अबाउट ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग ऑल्सो, सो जीरो बजट नेचुरल फार्मिंग, परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना, सिटी कंपोस्ट स्कीम, यूजिंग नेचुरल फर्टिलाइजर्स। एंड लास्टली, when I'm looking at fertilizer use, it should not only be a short term approach, it should be focus on long term health, long term soil health. So ultimately, whatever fertilizers are used should never harm the soil, ठीक है। ये याद कर लेते हैं हम अब कि सॉइल, इन्हीं 4 चीजों में हम याद रखेंगे कि whatever fertilizers are used should not harm the soil। अब इन हेडिंग्स में हम अपनी केस स्टडीज, अपनी स्कीम्स फिट कर सकते हैं, राइट, और ये याद भी रहेंगी हमें, करेक्ट। अब नेक्स्ट कम नाउ टू द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक विच इज ई टेक्नोलॉजी इन द एड ऑफ फार्मर्स। देखो, ई टेक्नोलॉजी इन द एड ऑफ फार्मर्स में क्या इशू है कि ये क्वेश्चन इस साल बहुत अनलाइकली है, तो अगर आप मेंस दे रहे हैं तो इसको थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर से भी पढ़ सकते हैं, ठीक है। यहां पर ई टेक्नोलॉजी इन द एड ऑफ फार्मर्स की बात है, यू कैन, आप देखो क्योंकि 2023 में दिस क्वेश्चन केम, हाउ डज ई टेक हेल्प फार्मर्स इन प्रोडक्शन एंड मार्केटिंग ऑफ एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूस, राइट। अगर आप इस साल मीन्स दे रहे थे, लास्ट ईयर आपने मीन्स दिया है एंड यू रेड दिस फ्रॉम मी, तो बहुत फायदा होगा, बिकॉज 50 एग्जाम्पल्स हैं अभी नीचे इसी चीज के, राइट। बट अब ये नहीं आने वाला इस साल, मोस्ट लाइकली ये नहीं आने वाला इस साल, तो 2024 में हम आराम से, वी कांट स्किप दिस, वी कांट टेक दैट रिस्क, बट हमें लिमिटेड पढ़ सकते हैं हम 2024 मेंस के लिए। फिर भी मैं 2024 मेंस के लिए कहूंगा कि एग्री स्टैक, ई-नैम और डिजिटल एग्रीकल्चर मिशन, ये जरूर पढ़ें 2024 मेंस के लिए, क्योंकि ये इस साल के इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में है। 2025 में जरूर पढ़ना है, क्योंकि 8 साल में जो चीज 5 बार आ चुकी है उसे हमें डिटेल में देखना है। अब यहां क्वेश्चन लिंक किया था डिजिटल इंडिया से, डिजिटल इंडिया एनीवे वी विल रीड, राइट। देन वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ रेवोल्यूशन दैट टुक प्लेस इन एग्रीकल्चर, इसमें एक रेवोल्यूशन टेक्नोलॉजिकल रेवोल्यूशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर भी है, बट वी विल रीड अबाउट इट। ऐसे ऐसे रेवोल्यूशंस हैं व्हिच आई एम श्योर यू डोंट नो अबाउट। देयर इज ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन, देन ब्लू रेवोल्यूशन, ब्राउन रेवोल्यूशन, पिंक रेवोल्यूशन, देन सेकंड ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन, देन टेक रेवोल्यूशन, ये हम पढ़ेंगे डिटेल में। देन ये क्वेश्चन था एक स्पेसिफिक टेक्नोलॉजी पे, बायोटेक, दिस एनीवे वी आर गोइंग टू रीड विद साइंस एंड टेक। challenges before crop diversification and emerging technologies provide an opportunity for crop diversification. This also we are going to read. We are going to read emerging technologies today. And lastly, how does e-tech, this was a straight question in 2023, how does e-tech help farmers in production and marketing of agricultural produce? ठीक है, अब ई टेक्नोलॉजी पे हमें एक्चुअली क्या क्या पढ़ना है वो हम देखते हैं. पहले we need to know what are the benefits of use of e-technology. Then we have to know what are the challenges of use of e-technology. Then I have to know what is the way forward to ensure कि ये जो challenges और constraints हैं ये हट जाएं. इसके अलावा there are two other things. One, I need to know emerging technologies in the aid of farmers. जैसे वहां पर उन्होंने emerging technology और crop diversification पूछ लिया. And इसके अलावा I need to have certain examples for various technologies and across the value chain. जैसे production and marketing पूछा तो input management भी पूछा जा सकता है, right? So I need examples across the value chain. अब देखो इसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम है कि ये तो हमें रटना ही पड़ेगा, right? Because these are things like there is a e-Chopal by ITC that they have made for farmers. This is nothing we can do about. But यहाँ हम काफी चीजें logically सोच सकते हैं. So we'll read this first. Then this we'll have to mug up. I'll tell you how to remember and what to remember. ठीक है? तो start करते हैं. Again आपके ही काम से. Benefits of e-technology in the aid of farmers. 2 मिनट है आपके पास, सोचो. अब सब स्टेक होल्डर्स ही यूज करने लग गए. कैन वी नॉट थिंक अबाउट द एग्रीकल्चरल वैल्यू चेन, इनपुट में, प्रोडक्शन में, मार्केटिंग में, पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन में? ऐसी कोई जगह भी है जहां पर टेक्नोलॉजी यूज नहीं होगी? देखो, इफ यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट इट, ऐसा कोई ब्रॉड क्वेश्चन मिल जाए तो वही जो जेनेरिक थिंकिंग पैटर्न है ना एग्रीकल्चर का, इनपुट्स, प्रोडक्शन, पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन. कोई ऐसा एरिया ही नहीं है जहां टेक्नोलॉजी से हेल्प ना हो. इनपुट में, लैंड मैनेजमेंट में, वाटर मैनेजमेंट में, हर जगह टेक्नोलॉजी से हेल्प है. प्रोडक्शन में भी, सॉयल हेल्थ, क्रॉप हेल्थ, हर जगह हेल्प है. पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन में भी, मार्केटिंग में, स्टोरेज में, ट्रांसपोर्ट में, हर जगह हेल्प है. तो यहां पर पॉइंट जनरेट करना प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम है एग्जाम्पल्स होना. जब तक एग्जाम्पल्स नहीं है तब तक हम कुछ भी लिख लें, दे डोंट कैरी दैट इनफ सब्सटैंशिएशन एंड वेट टू एक्चुअली राइट दैट पॉइंट. दिस इज द इशू, राइट? तो अगर हम यहां से यहां देखें, वी एक्चुअली नीड एग्जाम्पल्स इन दीज आंसर्स. ओके, अब एग्जाम्पल्स तो हम देख लेंगे. दो चीजें हम देखते हैं पहले. कि if it is so good, if e-technology is so good here, okay, तो इसे अडॉप्ट करने में कंस्ट्रेंट्स क्या हैं? अगर ये हर जगह यूज हो सकता है, तो what are the constraints? Why are we unable to use e-technology in farm management? क्या इश्यूज हैं, पहले वो देखते हैं, देन देखेंगे कि what can we do, we'll look at the way forward, then we'll look at the examples. ठीक है, तो अब मुझे बताओ constraints क्या हैं. Again you take 2 minutes and tell me what are the constraints in actually using e-technology. यूज तो हम हर जगह कर सकते हैं, एग्जाम्पल्स भी देख लेंगे. काफी मेंटोस जिंदगी एक्सपीरियंस करने वाले हो आप 1 मिनट बाद. Illiteracy, non-availability. Anything else? Think in a supply chain. Try to think in a supply chain. पहले क्या होगा, फिर क्या होगा. देखो, फार्मर को सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि उनके पास फाइनेंसेस ही नहीं है. ओके, सो दे डोंट हैव फाइनेंसेस टू यूज फॉर टेक्नोलॉजी बिकॉज सरप्लस है ही नहीं इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर में. फाइनेंसेस हैं भी मेरे पास, तो मैं अवेयर ही नहीं हूं कि एज सच एनी सच टेक्नोलॉजी कैन बी यूज्ड. सो पहले स्टेज है कि मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है, पैसे मेरे पास नहीं है तो मेरे पास अवेयरनेस नहीं है. अब अगर मेरे पास अवेयरनेस भी है, आई डोंट हैव द एंसिलरी रिसोर्सेज. आई नीड अ मोबाइल फोन and I need that my village should also be electrified, should have good quality internet, etc. So resource problem is there. Now even if there is a resource problem is solved, I am not sure that this technology will help me market my produce better. So market linkage नहीं है, market linkage नहीं है तो मैं कभी adopt करूंगा ही नहीं. Even if I have finances, I am aware of the technologies, ancillary resources are there, market linkage is also there, I might not be educated enough. There might be an issue of digital divide कि I want to use but I can't. After this, even if I am educated enough, it might not have proper regulation. And lastly, even if the regulation is proper, everything is proper, and even if the regulation is proper, there might be an issue of a social attitude कि छोड़ो ना, क्या करना है ये सब करके. Okay, so farmers can face a lot of issues when it comes to management of or constraints with regards to adoption of e-technology. समझ आ रहा है, फार्मर्स ही हमारा निमोनिक है यहाँ पे. आई होप दिस इज क्लियर, राइट? अब मैं क्या करूं? हाउ डू आई सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम? इफ दीज आर द, लेट्स से 7 problems that I have identified. What are the measures I can do to solve these problems? वो देख लेते हैं. So if finances are a problem, the policy that I am making, my policy needs to be better so that they can get the money required to use e-technology. Okay. If awareness is a problem, I need to do outreach campaigns. These outreach campaigns will ensure that most people get aware about the technology and what their uses are. Then, if resources are a problem, ancillary resources are a problem, their management needs to be optimized. Okay, so I need optimized resource management. Market linkage problem hai. So I need to do efficient market linkage of technology, and I need to have market relevant technologies. If education and digital divide is a problem, I need to train the farmers more effectively so that they can use this technology. If regulation is a problem, my research needs to be better. And if social attitude is a problem, I need to change the attitude of the farmer from being a subsistence farmer to being an entrepreneur. So agriculture is looked at as a business. So if I want that farmers start using e-technology, I need to promote it. So I need good policy support. I need good research. I need better outreach. I need market relevant technologies. I need optimized resource management. I need training, and I need entrepreneurial spirit. So farmers have constraints with regards to taking up e-technology, and I need to promote its usage. समझ आया? अब ये नहीं भूलना चाहिए यार. Now this you should not forget idly. Now, I hope this much is clear. अब हम examples देखते हैं. ठीक है, clear, fair enough. चलो examples देखते हैं. All right. So e-technology in the aid of farmers में, let us see what are the examples that are there. First is agri-tech penetration. NASSCOM is saying only 2% of Indian farmers use apps in the field. अगर internet access देखें in rural areas, so it has had 13% growth, but it is 67% in rural areas and 103% in urban areas as far as smartphone coverage is concerned. Now 103% क्यों है urban areas में? Because 103% will mean that some people have more than one phone, right? But rural areas में some people just don't have smartphones. Then Atal Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog and UNCDF का एक white paper है. You don't need to remember this. You need to remember this, that there is 1% agri-tech penetration in India, and even farm mechanization is lacking behind other countries. तो US में 95% farm mechanization है, Brazil में 75%, China में 57%, यहाँ पर है 40%, right? This year's economic survey, what does it say? It says that India supports over 1,000 agri-tech startups in agriculture and allied sectors, and 387 of them are women-led startups. Okay. Now let us look at some case studies and some government schemes. They are related to e-tech in the use of farmers. Okay. So mobile app to connect agri markets in Punjab. Okay. So employees mark their attendance and they can apply for leave here, and it is done on a mobile app. So it is a e-technology based solution, and apni mandi stalls are booked here. Then scientific sericulture using ICT to increase Mizoram's silk production. Okay. Now some government schemes regarding this. Firstly, there is e-Krishi Samvad app. ये क्या है? एक ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म है farmers can connect directly with the Indian Council of Agricultural Research. They can upload photos of their crop diseases, etc. Then there is a Farms app. Farms app नाम से क्लियर है, Farm Machinery Solutions app. तो Farm Machinery Solution app में क्या होता है? This helps rent agricultural machinery. Then there is Meghdut app. Meghdut नाम से क्लियर है. It is connected to clouds, so it gives weather based advisories कि weather क्या होने वाला है, उस बेसिस पे आपको क्या करना चाहिए आपके फील्ड में in local language. Then there is centralized farm machinery performance testing portal. Okay, again this is pretty much clear from the name that it is promoting transparency in the testing and evaluation of machine. Then there are E-Rashtriya Kisan Agri Mandi, E-Rakam. Ab Rakam means money. Okay. So this is the objective of establishing this is that farmers get proper Rakam. So they get fair prices for their produce and are not exploited. Then this is important. Digital Agriculture Mission. Digital Agriculture Mission is basically to use advanced technology like AI, remote sensing, drones to create digital public infrastructure for agriculture. This will be open source digital public infrastructure. इंडिया में और भी बहुत सारा डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है. फॉर एग्जांपल आधार, कोविन, things like Umang, UPI. This is digital public infrastructure that we have created. Now we want to create this for agriculture. So what are they trying to create? वही जो काम AgriStack में हो रहा है, वही 3 registries इसके अंडर हैं. So AgriStack is a part of this digital agriculture mission. Okay, so it has a nationwide farmers registry where all farmers in the country will be registered here. They have a crop zone registry, which crops you will sow, this is here, and geo referencing of village maps is there. ये 3 चीजें इसका part है. This is what we are doing using AgriStack also. Okay, now this is still to be operationalized. Actually COVID की वजह से इसका launch थोड़ा सा delay हो गया था. Otherwise it would have been functional till now. AgriStack is one of the components and there are other components also. It is known to be in the agenda of the first 100 days of the new government. Okay, then this is AgriStack. AgriStack again, it will make a unique farmer identification number on the basis of those same 3 registries. यही 3 foundational registries हैं. इसके basis पे farmers will get a unique ID and they will have a database. इसको use हम कैसे करेंगे subsidy management में, वो हम देख चुके हैं. And even Kisan credit card, through which loans can be acquired for farmers, that will also be linked to AgriStack. So basically it is a data solution for data management. Now, this is some of the recent technological interventions. ये इस बार के economic survey में है, by the way. So फसल बीमा योजना is pretty important this year. It will come under crop insurance. So when we read crop insurance, then we will read it. Insurance में ये 4, they have added these 4 new areas. What are these 4 areas? One is a DigiClaim payment module. Okay. So it has integrated the payment module with the public financial management system ताकि फसल बीमा योजना में जो insurance payment होनी है for crops, that happens very quickly. Then YesTech. YesTech is yield estimation based on technology. So that if we have to give crop insurance, we need to know, okay, this was the ideal yield. Ideal yield, let's say, is 100 kgs. If you are getting 50 kg only because of some or the other problem, we have to give you insurance on this 50 kg deficit. So ये ideal yield की estimation technology based होगी. Then there is the wind system for weather information network. So it has automated weather network which provides information related to weather. And then there is Cropic. So it is real-time observations and photographs of crops so that you have to validate whether the farmer is growing this particular crop or not. Only then you can give this insurance. Uske liye you can take pictures here. So these 4 new components have been added here. And if you use these examples in e-technology in the aid of farmers, you will definitely be able to write or get more marks because these are given in this year's economic survey. Okay. Now, benefits of e-technology मैं आपको नहीं पढ़ा रहा हूँ. I think this is pretty much clear. आप It can write, you can write across the chain, but हमें examples पढ़ने से. So there are now examples with regards to input, examples with regards to production, examples with regards to marketing. तो अगर हम input technology की बात करें, there is eChopal by ITC. eChopal is providing information on weather, agricultural practices and input sales. Then there are Kisan call centers to answer the queries of the farmers. Then there are village resource centers. This gives advisories related to agriculture like crop and pest diseases, fertilizers and pesticides, organic farming, etc. Then there is AgrisNet. AgrisNet is actually agricultural services net. So in Tamil Nadu, AgrisNet is used to give agricultural services. Then there is the Umang app. Umang app is unified mobile app for new age governance. This is used to get your beneficiary and payment status under PM Kisan, where 2,000 rupees are given as installments. Then there is Kisan Subhida app. Kisan Subhida is for information on fertilizer dealers, soil testing laboratories, etc., etc. Then there is RML Farmer Krishi Mitra app. This app is to enable farmers. It's like a Krishi Mitra means friend of the farmer, to help the farmer to make informed decisions. Then there is M-Pusa Krishi app. Again, this is giving simple solutions for farm field problems. Then this is also from this year's economic survey. So this example, if you have to remember few, try and remember this one. Krishi Decision Support System. This is actually storing geospatial and non-geospatial data, remote sensing data for helping farmers make better decisions on their fields. Now, in terms of production, we have DBT, we have Digital Agriculture Mission, ये हम देख चुके हैं. Then there is a Unified Farmer Service Platform. Okay. Again, Unified Farmer Service Platform is one particular platform where various APIs across the agri ecosystem are put to help farmers improve their production. Then eSagu operates on Telugu. This is a web-based platform and it is using information technology again for stopping unscientific agricultural practices. Then there is IFFCO Kisan Agriculture app. So whatever latest tools or latest publications have come, people can be updated with regards to agriculture on this app. Then M-Krishi is by MPEDA, especially for from M you can remember. It is for MPEDA for the fisheries sector. Then Krishi app or Krishi Mapper rather. Krishi Mapper is a mapping based app for geospatial and geoinformational setups of maps of the fields. This is also from this year's economic survey. Then there is Digital General Crop Estimation Survey that we are doing for crop estimation generally. Thank you for saying this. I know you can read this on your own. You should ideally read this on your own. I'm just running through it with you. AgriStack, ENAM, AgMarkNet. AgMarkNet, ये हम दोनों देख चुके हैं. AgMarkNet is basically again to connect with state agricultural marketing boards and wholesale agricultural markets. They are being connected. Then this is important. CDP Suraksha. CDP Suraksha is by the NPCI. They are saying that subsidies to farmers, जैसे मैंने आपको इकोनॉमिक सर्वे में बताया था, through e-rupee will go through this app. We will use the NPCI system, use e-rupee to give further subsidies to farmers. सुरक्षा की एक full form भी है, which I invite you to remember. मुझसे तो शायद ये याद नहीं होता. System for Unified Resource Allocation, Knowledge and Secure Horticulture Assistance. Okay. अब ये हमें पढ़ना है. This also I think you can read on your own. When we are reading Science and Tech, we'll see in detail. But this is new technology in the use of farmers. Although हम ये काफी डिटेल में देखेंगे when we see Science and Technology. But biotechnology, quantum computing, AI, IT industry, robotics, nanotech. This is what we have studied for. This is what we're going to study for emerging technologies in agriculture. Again, I would just want you to read this on your own. एक बार पढ़ लेना. इसमें कुछ ऐसा है नहीं जो मैं आपको समझाऊं. Right? जो समझाने वाला पार्ट था, I've already done. अब यहां पर आपको करना क्या है? For every particular stage. So for input, for production and for post production. For every stage 3 examples you have to mug up. So 9 total examples. और मैंने आपको ये बता दिया कि कौन कौन सा recent economic survey से है, तो वो examples ज्यादा याद करना. ओके जो चीजें आपको डेफिनेटली पढ़नी है वो मैं आपको पढ़ा चुका हूं. एग्री स्टैक, दिस डेफिनेटली यू नीड टू रीड अबाउट. ENAM you definitely need to read about, although we will see more about ENAM when we see APMCs. And Digital Agriculture Mission, this should not be missed. Okay, Saloni is saying it's too much. I don't have to remember all of it यार, but मुझे एक बात बताओ, if you think it's too much, अब तो मेरे पास last year also I taught all of these examples, ठीक है, except for the ones that have come in this year's economic survey and the thing we read about agri stack etc. अब मुझे बताओ कि अगर आपने ये क्वेश्चन लिखना हो, would you want such examples or not? प्रॉब्लम यहां पे नहीं, मत पढ़ो इकोनॉमिक सर्वे, मैं पढ़ रहा हूं ना. बट इफ यू हैड टू राइट दिस आंसर, दिस केम लास्ट ईयर. अब मुझे बताओ, अ पर्सन हु हैज एग्जांपल्स वर्सेस वो person who doesn't want these examples, how do you fare in this question then? है ना, अगर आपके पास यहां पर मार्केटिंग में एगमार्क नेट, ENAM एक्सेट्रा आपको याद है, प्रोडक्शन में चौपाल का एग्जांपल आपको याद है, प्रोडक्शन में ईसागू का एग्जांपल आपको याद है, तो ऑब्वियसली यू आर गोइंग टू गिव राइट अ मच बेटर आंसर हियर, राइट? एंड यही एग्जांपल्स यहां चेक हो रहे हैं. whoever is a serious candidate who is giving means, वो प्रोडक्शन और मार्केटिंग में टेक्नोलॉजी कैसे यूज होती है तो बता ही देगा. द क्वेश्चन इज ऑफ एग्जांपल्स हियर, राइट? If I was in your place, I would remember 3 for every stage. Okay, now this is done. So this concludes our second class for agriculture. Today we have studied water, I think in enough detail now that even GS1 should not be a problem. Enough details for fertilizers with regards to government schemes and the problem of the subsidy regime. We have also read technology in the aid of farmers. We know the examples. We have read about various things like what are the constraints, what are the benefits, and what is the way forward. Okay, I hope this was clear to you, and I hope you enjoyed this class. Now I will see you next time on Saturday, and next time we will read about APMCs, the issues of APMCs, the problem of APMCs. We'll also understand the logic of the farm bills, then why they were removed. We'll also read about ENAM, agricultural exports, etc. So वही cycle में हम input से start हुए थे. We have read about land, we have read about water, fertilizer, e-technology. अब fertilizer, seed, marketing, exports, production से आगे जाके जो जो चीजें हमें इसके आगे लिखनी है, हम उसी life cycle में continue करते रहेंगे, and we'll finish agriculture in about 5 classes. And if we read in such a logical manner, in the last class of agriculture we will understand agrarian distress. तो जब अब मैं आपसे agrarian distress पूछूंगा, points from land to exports सारे points आने चाहिए. Then we will also see issues like need for doubling farmers income, loan waivers, farmer suicides, etc. तो जो broad topics agriculture के हैं वो end में करेंगे. अभी हम इसी supply chain में continue करेंगे. All right, चलो, thank you, and I will now see you now on Saturday. Bye bye.